Hey guys, welcome to the show. Sorry, David, I just started the show just because people were waiting. I just wanted to let them know what was going on.
No worries. If you can, there we go. We're looking good.
So this is David Weiss from the channel DITRH. And
like ice.
Pardon me?
Let them know what's going on. Ice.
No worries. Oh, David Weiss. Okay, sorry, bro. So this is David Weiss from we got a little DITRH. A little echo coming through. Maybe you can close YouTube, David, or something. It sounds like we're getting a little echo through your speakers. I got a little. I got to mute you there because it's really bad. I can hear myself talking. Yep, no problem, buddy. I got to mute you there. Just you only need StreamYard open. Sometimes it happens when people have other windows and stuff like that open. So thank you everyone for coming. David Weiss is Weiss. He's a well-known flat earther. This is his friend Matt Long, and I'm just going to send a couple links out, my co-host, and we should be able to get started pretty soon here. Hi, Matt.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, man. How are you?
Doing well.
Cool, bro. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, you too.
Okay. I don't know if StreamYard's changed a bit. Maybe, hopefully this will work for you guys. Like, I know you guys can share anything you want, videos, pictures, like anything. So hopefully we can get some kind of a presentation going on. Hey, David. How you doing, man?
I had like 7 tabs open with this.
So thank you everyone for being here, and I'll let David just introduce himself, and I guess we can go from there, man. Thank you, David, for coming, and thank you, Matt.
I'm David Weiss, and this is Matt Long. We're the hosts of the Flat Earth Podcast. I got a bunch of messages when Nick, you did a stream on Flat Earth, talking about what your thoughts on Flat Earth, and so here we are. We're here to discuss, Flat Earth, and you come from the biblical side of the fence, I think, and Matt is on the same side, so I know this much. Matt knows that much.
Cool, man.
And who else is joining us?
This is Sepp. He's like pretty much my co-host.
What's going on? Appreciate you guys giving us a little bit of your time and being able to talk a little bit more.
Also, one of Sepp's friends might be showing up in a bit to join us too. He's not a flat earther, so maybe he'll come, maybe he won't. I don't know. I don't see him yet, but yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, so it's nice to meet both of you.
Yeah, good to meet you too,
Matt and David.
Thanks. Now I'm back in business. All right, and Fred and any of the flat earthers watching, we are on StreamYard today, not on Zoom, so I don't have all my magic, but I'll do that.
Sorry, we tried to get it working. Maybe next time, if you guys come back or something, we could figure it out.
All right.
Hey, background looks pretty good though.
It does look good, yeah.
Well, Matt doesn't have a fake background. Matt is actually in Mexico.
Yeah.
Well, how could I tell?
Oh,
no,
is that
that's cool, man.
Matt, is that a virtual background?
No, it's real. It's
okay.
real. I can't do anything to change it. I'm hoping the lights come on here soon.
Why is it dark here and light in Mexico, Matt? Come on.
That's impossible.
Dave could tell you it has to do with the Earth being flat.
Okay.
We're looking forward to hearing that. So that's cool. But yeah, man, hopefully we don't get under each other's skin a little too much, and we can just have a respectable dialogue between each other.
Sure.
Really looking forward to that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if you listen to Dave and I on the show, it's hard to get us upset. I think, what does it take, Dave? It takes like some kind of middle to older age ladies that are calling you out on certain topics to really get you upset.
Oh, you're talking about Karen. Yeah, so if you guys have any other introductions, a little bit about your guys' background or experience with the topic or anything, that'd be cool if you guys would like to share.
All right, I'll go first real quick. I was doing a podcast called Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole, and that was about over 6 years ago, and people started sending me flat earth stuff, so then I started looking into it, kicking and screaming, thought it was the dumbest thing ever, and I've been researching it every day since, and the more I look into it, the more certain I am that we're not on a spinning ball. There's plenty of things that we don't know about this world, but one thing that we all can agree on the flat earth side is that it's not a spinning ball flying through an infinite vacuum. Matt?
Yeah, well, I grew up listening to a podcast called Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole, and there was a guy on there who told me flat Earth was stupid, so I wouldn't look into it. But no, I come from a biblical background, but kind of later in life where I really started reading the Bible, and I stumbled across flat Earth in 2015 by mistake. I started reading some scriptures that were in the Bible, as well as doing some tests of my own and watching some amazing videos that were being put out back then and that you could still find. And man, I was instantly a flat earther. I did some amazing videos. And instantly a flat earther, then spent a couple years trying to make sure I wasn't an idiot before I went public with it. And here we are.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so a little bit of background for me. I actually did not know that people thought the earth could be flat up until a couple months ago.
Wow.
Yeah, it never was ever brought to my attention. And I'm about 29 years old, so I thought it was extremely odd that anyone could believe that the earth was flat. I've watched a lot of like Dr. Carl Ball, Dr. Kent Hovind. Not really too many people talking about.
I wouldn't really call Kent Hovind a doctor, but hey.
Well, PhD, PhD in theology, I guess. So, but
yeah, Kent Hovind kind of
a little bit of things like that. Looking on just how the Bible correlates with science mostly, different things on YouTube and things like that. But I'm glad to hear you guys want to come on the show and explain to us why it is you believe exactly what you believe and the evidence is behind it.
Sure. And I'd say those guys don't believe what Dave and I believe, but I did in my younger Christian years start on Kent Hovind. He's amazing on evolution and things like that. And he doesn't believe the earth is flat, and he has his reasons why, but I think he's great. So I think you and I come from similar backgrounds. I'm just maybe a couple steps further down the rabbit hole, possibly.
I like Kent Hovind too, for the record. He's just not a doctor, for the record.
Kind of like Dr. Fauci.
Yeah.
my surgery. No, I was kidding.
He has a PhD from an uncredited school.
I mean, we could all talk about the credibility.
I like what he teaches and stuff, but it's not really a recognized PhD, to be fair.
Dave's a doctor.
Yeah, I am.
Dave?
No, I'm not.
Take a look at this real quick. I'm going to send you a screenshot.
Please don't. So real quick, the flat Earth, we don't believe that the Earth is a disc in space. Nobody believes that. Nobody believes the crap that's on the Flat Earth Society. We don't believe that the Earth is rising at 9.8 meters per second. We don't believe that if you get to the flat Earth, edge of the Earth, you could fall off. We don't believe that there's an ice wall. We believe there's an ice shoreline. The Earth, the way we see it, is the Earth is like a puddle. A puddle is where water accumulates in the low spot of the land. The edge of the puddle is where the land is higher than the water. Expand that to a pond, to a lake, and to the world pond, I call it. So all of the oceans of the world make a giant pond or a lake, and the shoreline of that lake is the land that we call Antarctica. Antarctica is the highest land on Earth. It is. You can look it up. And that's just the shoreline. That's the container for the water on Earth, because large bodies of water need a container. Otherwise, they don't stay together. So Antarctica could be bigger than all of the oceans and all of the continents combined, or it could only be a couple thousand miles. We don't know, because it's off limits to everybody. But it is the container of the world. So we live in what I call the Antarctic Basin.
Okay.
What do you mean it's off limits to everybody? Like, you're saying nobody can go to Antarctica?
Yeah, no. Well, you can. There's a whole bunch of little companies that you can go take a short little vacation, and you can go right here to this little peninsula, which is bigger than many countries. And they'll show you some penguins. They'll show you some ice, and they'll bring you maybe out here and show you a ceremonial South Pole. But there's no way to confirm that, because compasses don't work and GPS doesn't work out there.
But to be fair, what you're saying hasn't really been confirmed either, right?
Absolutely, it has. If you look up the Antarctic Treaty,
no, I mean about the Antarctica being like the ice shore and it not being what they say it is.
No,
I know about the Antarctic Treaty.
Yeah, well, it is the shoreline of the world pond. And if Antarctica was a continent at the bottom of a ball, according to the globe, it's 13,000 miles around. But the last person to try to go around it was Captain Cook, and he took him 3.5 years. He went between 60 and 80,000 miles, right? That's way bigger than the equator. That makes no sense on a ball.
Was Captain Cook the last? Captain Cook was the last person that went around the Earth.
Well, no, went around and tried to circumnavigate Antarctica with it in view. Now, there's sailboat races that go at like 50 degrees south or 55 degrees south.
Sorry, my cat just knocked something over. So.
That's all right. And that.
Yeah, I'm listening.
Yeah, those sailboat races don't prove anything because you're trusting GPS, and GPS is all run by NASA. And if you follow those sailboat races, they say they're using GPS. GPS is telling them the distances that they're going, and it shows that those boats are going like 2 or 3 miles per hour on average, when they really go 20 to 30 miles per hour. So none of that proves anything. What I'm saying is
NASA runs all the GPS.
NASA runs all the GPS. NASA runs all of the international flight paths. NASA runs radar. NASA's in charge of all of that. And I don't know, where do you guys stand with NASA? Do you know that NASA is not a space agency?
I would say that it is a space agency, but
just need to know where you are.
I mean, that's just my standpoint,
Yeah. So, I mean, we can get into the bones of NASA. Like, if I showed you on the space station, you guys believe in the space station?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if I showed you on the space station that they were faking gravity by hanging from wires, would that be enough to make you realize that they're faking space, or would you need more?
Well, I would probably think you need to disprove that there are actually satellites and things in space for me.
Yeah. So what makes you believe there's satellites in space? Have you ever seen a photo of one in space?
No.
Yeah. Well, we saw a couple of different experiments done by, average Joes and things like that would, for me at least, make me believe that there are some type of objects that are moving at incredible speeds that aren't able to be, moving in an atmosphere.
So what's up there? If it's not the ISS, what do you guys think it is? Because people have actually calculated the size and speed and height of the ISS, using math and a telescope.
Yeah.
So what is it? You can get ISS Transit Finder app that will tell you from the exact split second when it's going to transit you based on your position on the globe. So what could it possibly be? How could they fake that for everybody?
Yeah. So you can't fake it for everybody. You're right. So there's two things that you can see. You can watch the ISS do a transit, not do horizon to horizon bypass, and I've seen it. And you see this very, very bright light that's traveling it goes across the entire sky in just a couple of minutes. Mm-hmm. And if you calculate the speeds, none of it makes any sense. But the problem is the size of that light and the steadiness of the brightness. There's no way it can be reflecting the sunlight. Every if you watch any of the spacewalks, when they're outside on the sunny side of that thing, it's never that bright. You use the inverse square law of light. There's no way that we would see that brightness. But the bigger problem is the angular size that we see. We can see that light go by with our naked eye. Well, the ISS is about a little bigger than a 747. And a 747 at cruising altitude is literally a tiny dot, smaller than a pencil eraser held at arm's length, right? And if you double the altitude of a 747, scientifically provably, its angular size is too small to see.
I think the ISS is a bit bigger than a 747.
Let's say it's double the size, but it's not. Okay. I have on Zoom, I have an overlay that shows you exactly how big it is. But so it's literally the size of a half of a pencil eraser at arm's length when it's at cruising altitude. The ISS is 50 times higher than that. 50. If it was 3 times the height, you cannot see it. It's too small for your eye to resolve, but it's 50 times farther, right? So scientifically, we can prove that you can't see it. So what is it? That's a great question, Nick. Anything above our heads is really speculation, but I think it's a luminary, like all of these other circling luminaries. I don't know what it is.
Well, when you say luminary, what exactly is that?
No, but you can capture it transiting the moon with a good telescope.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing. That's it. That's a parlor trick, right? And if you watch these transits, So let me explain. Okay.
Okay.
You never see it approaching the sun or the moon or exiting the sun and the moon, kind of just like a solar eclipse. You never see it approaching or exiting. You just see the transit, and you can argue because of lighting and everything. And I'll even give you that. The problem is, if you watch where you can see it, it'll show you, all right, you can see it here. You're going to be able to see it here. It shows you exactly where you can see it. And then all of a sudden it stops. And like the next town over, they don't get to see it. Why did it stop? Because it should keep going. It stopped. Like they had to turn off the friggin' lights and go back and get fuel. It's literally a trick. I don't know how they do it. There's a whole bunch of ways, but it's probably just a drone or an aircraft that they fly at specific times, and they let us know. It's literally to maintain the lie of the globe, and this whole thing is to hide the creator. The entire reason for all of this is to hide the creator.
Well, someone, one of the moderators, J-Man in the chat, wanted to ask, I guess both of you, Matt and David, if believing in a flat earth or a spherical earth has any weight or value on one's salvation, like Matt? According to the Bible.
Yeah, I don't think it does. Why would it? When did Jesus ever say, "Oh, you better believe the earth is flat"?
You know what? I can answer this, but I'm gonna let Matt answer it.
Sure.
All right. So I would say for a current Christian. So let me start off by saying I think the Bible is a flat earth book. I think from Genesis all the way to Revelation, I think all the scriptures tell of a flat, non-rotating earth. Having said that, for a current Christian who has salvation in Jesus Christ, I don't think believing that the earth is a ball is going to make you lose your salvation or make you not have salvation. But Christians need to step out from the Christian mindset and think of non-Christians, people who don't believe the Bible because they believe in this ever-expanding, potentially infinite universe. That was me in my 20s. I was reading physics books, science books, and devouring that stuff. And all those books tell you that this whole place got here without God. They said that nothing exploded, created everything, and that they never once mentioned an all-loving creator. And by the way, everything that they say is diametrically opposed to page 1 of Genesis, where it talks about a 6-day creation, where it talks about the earth being created before the sun, where it talks about the firmament separating the waters below from the waters above. And so start there from a non-Christian outlook. So flat earth has brought people to realize that, hey, I think that NASA is lying. I think we're actually more significant than this previous outlook of an ever.
Matt, it would have to be like everybody lying, not just NASA, right? You guys think everyone's lying. It'd have to be like NASA, ESA, JAXA.
No, I think. Well, yeah, sure, and we'll get into that. But just to finish my thought, if you go to Romans 1:20, it says that the invisible things of God, including his eternal power, can be seen through the things that were made, right?
Okay.
And because of that, man is without excuse in acknowledging God. Psalm 19:1 says that the invisible things of God, Psalm 19:1 says that the heavens declare the glory of God, the firmament shows his handiwork, and it's basically spoken out in every language. Okay, so the creation is talking to us down here. It's screaming of a creator. And I think this spinning ball, ever expanding, potentially infinite model was purposely created in a way to, one, make the Bible look stupid, but two, to make man feel insignificant and make him think that, hey, there may not be a God here. And that was my perspective in my 20s, so I can identify with it. So as a current Christian, flat earth is less important to me than, say, the revelation of Jesus Christ dying for my sins. Okay. But it is very important, and because I was a Christian and then I came to flat earth, I feel like it's close, and it's brought me closer to God, but it didn't give me any more saved. If that answers your question.
Yeah, David, would you like to add anything or say anything about that?
So for me, before flat earth, I was an evolutionist and best described as an atheist. I was a good person, but I just didn't believe in anything religious. And anytime I heard anyone mention the Bible, the Quran, or anything else, I would tune them out and unsubscribe and wouldn't listen to them anymore. But then when I understood what the earth wasn't, which is a spinning ball flying through an infinite vacuum, which is just impossible, I understood that it was created and there was a creator. So it brought me to the creator. All right. So that's one thing. And then Matt, what's that verse in the Bible that basically says if you don't once you see my creation, you no longer have any excuse to deny my.
Yeah, it's similar to that. I think it's Romans 1:19. I think it's right before Romans 1:20.
Why do you equate these verses with flat Earth? Like, why? How come? Can I ask you, like, how come the ancient Jews that wrote these scriptures never taught a flat Earth, or how come all the other theologians and Bible scholars out there that say they understand the context of these verses don't teach a flat Earth?
So the Hebrews did believe in a flat Earth. If
they did.
Yes, they did. If you Google Hebrew cosmology, take a look at it, you'll see.
We actually have done that too, and I was watching a few representative Jews actually over in Israel, and they made some videos about this, and they were bringing up some extra biblical texts, like kind of stuff that was just more like hearsay, whatever, kind of verbal traditions, whatever that they kept. And a lot of it was saying that they don't believe in a flat Earth. That they
when did they stop teaching the flat Earth? Because
that information you just pulled up right there. If you want to show it to the screen real quick, so people could look at it again,
right?
And say the name of it.
What you guys are going to find. So this is a typical Hebrew cosmology. It's probably really hard to see, but basically a flat Earth with a dome over it, with waters below, waters above, and hell below, heaven above. God sits right above the center. And so what you're going to find, especially with flat Earth, whether it's the religious side or whether it's the science side, every piece of evidence, you're going to have both sides saying, hey, this is our piece of evidence, because it's like evolution, right? You're going to have a creationist and evolutionist. They're going to take a look at a fossil, and the evolutionist is going to say, well, that was laid down over millions of years of non-catastrophic processes. Well, the creationist is going to say, nope, that was all laid down in one event, Noah's flood, right? So, and you're going to find that with people reading in the new quote unquote cosmology, the spinning ball.
I don't mean to cut you off, Matt. What was the title of that book again?
Oh, well, this happens to be The House That Jesus Built by Matt Long.
Okay, so everyone, Amazon. If you did want to look that up,
the book that you wrote.
Yes,
you're not biased at all again.
Yeah. I think I might have a copy right here.
Yeah.
So if you go to book.woke.town, it'll take you straight to Amazon where that's available. Chapter 4 is all about what the Bible says. It runs straight through all the verses. It talks about the two main verses that people think describe a spinning ball flying through space, and it addresses those and how those are actually a couple of flat Earth verses. And we can talk about those if you'd like. But I think what you're going to find, like I said, you're going to find arguments for both sides. It's going to depend where you look, and you're going to have to decide which side makes the most sense. If you go to the purest form of the Hebrew, check out a guy named Michael Heiser, Dr. Michael Heiser. He does, I forget what his PhD's in, but he has some great stuff on YouTube where he talks about, now he's not a flat earther, but he talks about what the Hebrews believed back then. And I've got verses in here that says Jesus didn't believe in the current scientific model. So it's, I think if you read the scriptures literally and take them and also considering, the language that they were written in, I don't see how you get around a flat, non-rotating Earth in the Bible.
Right, and you asked Nick. I think you asked when did they stop teaching flat Earth?
Yeah.
Well, we're told the story that Eratosthenes, discovered that the Earth was a ball and figured it out within 2% back in ancient Greece.
Yeah, when that's 1,000 years ago.
Yeah, well, that's a lie, because the oldest book you can find with him in it is in the late 1900s with him and that experiment. And even if he did do it, which makes no sense, because never has anyone seen parallel rays coming in. They always come in corpuscular. They always spread out. So how he assumed there was parallel rays makes no sense. And even if there are parallel rays and they're coming in corpuscular because of refraction, his experiment wouldn't work. So besides that, what's that?
And the other thing is, he only used 2 wells. It would be the same on a globe Earth as it would be on a flat Earth with
even with 3 wells too. Neil deGrasse Tyson did a piece and goes, yes, Neil even admits it would work with 2, but not with 3. But it does work with 3, and no one's ever done it. The thing is, with a small stationary Earth, you got two sticks. If I had a light over this one, there's no shadow, and the light's over here, there's a shadow. Okay. So it doesn't prove either. So the whole story is just a made up story. But here's the thing. I was interviewing a woman named Ruth, 102 years old, back in February of 2020 about the World's Fairs, which is ties back to the mud floods and everything. And she had such an amazing memory. I asked her what they taught her in elementary school. She remembered her school teacher, the road it was on, the kids in her class. And she said they taught me the earth was flat. I'd never mentioned flat earth to her. And she said that she's always thought it was flat, but she was taught that it wasn't, later in school years. We found a woman in Croatia said in the 1930s, all the schools were teaching flat earth. Right. We found newspaper articles on microfilm talking about teachers in the early 1900s that were being persecuted for trying to teach heliocentrism in the schools. So our entire history is a lie. If you look back into Tartaria was here, in the 1800s, worldwide advanced civilization. They don't want us to know about that. They don't teach us that in school. Antarctica wasn't covered in ice. And there was, there's maps of it. So they don't want us to know any of that. This is literally to control our minds and hide the creator because they hate God.
I think I'm like on the opposite spectrum of you guys because when I look at cosmology, right, like I'm looking at the galaxy and how even in our solar system we have, they tell us that they have, and I believe it, that they have planets and moons that are rotating in opposite directions. I don't take the evolution side of that, and I look at it through a biblical lens, and I see it as God setting things up the way that he did and that they're keeping their course, right? And like, I think in Job, it talks about, you can't loose the bands of Orion or something like that. And isn't it like the two stars are binary stars? Like how
how extreme of flat earthers are you guys? Like, do you believe in space, or do you think that there is no space and they're just a firmament with a bunch of lights attached to it?
Sure. So basically, if you think about the solar system with the Earth rotating around the sun, right, and the other planets rotating with it at different distances.
It looks like Sep's friend is here, but we'll let you guys keep
let
talking.
finish real quick,
okay.
And then
before he has his piece or whatever, let you guys.
Sure.
Yeah.
So think about the solar system. You got the sun at the center. You got the Earth rotating around it. You have other planets at different distances. Okay. We don't believe in a solar system. We believe in an Earth system where Earth is the floor. You've got the dome above it. The sun, moon, and stars are located inside our system, okay, including what you guys would call planets. We think planets are just wandering stars. They're luminaries. They're lights in the sky. Yes, I could take my telescope. I could go look at Saturn. I could see the ring, what appears to be a ring going around it. But I don't believe it's a place you can go. I don't believe you can go visit other planets. I don't believe you can go to the moon. I think it's part of this system.
So Matt, when I look through, like my buddy has an LS-200 telescope, and I've literally seen the moons of Jupiter with my own eyes. Like, what am I looking at?
You can see the moons of Jupiter sometimes without. And I think I've seen the moons of Jupiter without a telescope before.
I mean,
in detail though. Like, I mean, in detail with this thing. Like, I've seen.
Yeah, I don't think that. Like, we believe that there are lights up there. Just like I believe the moon is up there.
So Nick, just think about it. The moon, much closer, much easier to see.
Yeah.
And when we have a new moon, when the moon goes new, nobody has ever seen it from the ISS, from a high airplane, from infrared telescope. No one has ever seen it in less than like 42 hours. It's almost 2 full days. So when it goes new, it's in between the Earth and the sun. So if you're on the moon looking at the Earth, you have a full Earth, like you have a full moon. Well, the Earth is 6 times bigger, and I would say much more reflective than the dusty, dirty ball that we call the moon. That Earth shine should light up the moon enough so somebody can see it. No one has ever seen it. And you could say, well, the sun's so bright. Let me finish.
What do you mean? What do you mean, though? What do you mean new moon when no one sees it? What do you mean? Can you explain that?
When the moon is phases, it's getting down to, it's a half moon, crescent moon, a tiny crescent, and then it goes dark.
Okay.
No one has ever seen it in less than 42 hours, I think, 40 some odd hours. It's almost 2 full days. And no one could ever find it. They haven't seen it from the space station. They haven't seen it from any telescope anywhere, any satellite. No one has ever seen the moon in less than 42 hours.
I'm not really understanding.
I don't kind of understand how you're thinking that the Earth is reflective.
Well, the moon is reflective. Can you go out, like if you're away from the city lights during a clear,
because of its composition?
Well, when you're in the middle of a black void and it's dark on the planet and it's the sun is hitting it, it's the only thing up there that you can see, right, from the Earth, because it's night.
I would think water would be more reflective than a dirty dust ball that they.
Yeah, but in the middle of pure blackness, when it's dark on the planet and the sun is hitting it up in the sky, do you not expect to see the sun hitting it? Is that what you're saying?
No, what I'm saying is when there's a full moon, when we're in between the sun and the moon, and we have a full moon, that moonlight is bright enough to read by.
Okay.
In the middle of nowhere, I could read by it. It's bright enough. It casts shadows on the ground. Well, the Earth shine is a minimum of 6 times more than that. It should light up the moon enough so somebody from some angles with some telescope, with some infrared from the space station would be able to see it. Nobody has ever seen it. So what is the moon? I have no friggin' idea what the moon is, and neither does NASA or anybody else. It's all speculation. But the fact during a total eclipse, during a solar total eclipse, during totality, we should be able to see the moon, and no one's ever seen it.
You're saying you don't know what the moon is, but the moon is covered in craters. And I believe, my own opinion, right, is that during the flood, the pressure from the cracking fault lines shot up rocks, and it just peppered the moon. And that's why only the face of the moon we see are full of craters, and the backside of it, the pictures we see, are almost completely smooth. You know, I mean.
Well, you're believing pictures. I can show you a picture of a dinosaur. Will you believe that's real?
Well,
dinosaurs were real. Do you not believe in dinosaurs?
Well, I could show you a picture. What I'm saying is a picture of a dinosaur walking down the street in New York.
Dinosaurs in the Congo.
I'm not talking about whether dinosaurs are real. It's a whole nother conversation. What I'm saying is,
this picture. Will you believe a picture?
Yeah.
And what I'm saying is, I'm just believing, like, the probability of something being correct or not, and if it adds up. You know what I'm saying? Like, what you're saying is, like, no one knows what the moon is, and I'm kind of saying, how is that possible if, we know that the moon controls the tides, that it has these
we don't know that. See, that's a belief you have. The correlation of the moon and the tides is completely wrong. There's tidal nodes all. You know what? I live on the coast. I live on the water. I understand where the tides are. Yeah. But there's tidal nodes all over this world that make no sense with the whole moon theory. And now the moon, I believe it does affect the tides, but not because of gravity. It's because of its electrical influence on the Earth system.
But hey, David, the fact that the moon is like tidally locked to the Earth, so we think, and that we only ever see one side of the moon, wouldn't that not work on a flat Earth? Like, wouldn't someone standing on this side of the flat Earth and someone on this side of the flat Earth, if the moon was like going around them, wouldn't they see the opposite sides of the moon?
Why would they show us a made-up picture of a moon with craters and then the backside it being completely smooth if, they're trying to teach us this evolutionary theory where the Earth was peppered with asteroids or whatever falling into the Earth, and there's like nothing scathing the backside of the moon, only on the front. It's
all these theories are nice, but do you guys have any like evidence we can look at that like proves any of this stuff?
Yeah, we can see too far.
We can see too far?
Yeah, we can see too far. We can, if the Earth is 24,901 miles around, there is a curvature formula, and we can see too far. Period.
You said you wanted to talk to me last time when I brought up that drone experiment about the horizon slowly dropping below the line that was up on the screen that I was telling you about.
Sure, we can talk about that. So when the way our vision works is we can see. So imagine yourself on an island in the middle of the ocean, and it's perfectly clear weather all the way around you. So the weather conditions are the same. We can see the same distance in all directions, right?
Okay.
You with me?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
So if I can see whether it's 10 miles or 100 miles, I don't care. We can see to the point of convergence, and we can see at that distance. Now, can I see the same distance if I look over here? Yes. The answer is yes. I can see the same distance in all directions. So this is showing you my line of vision, right? What I'm seeing right there is my vision. You with me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'm standing at the center point there, and I could see in all directions. So if I turn that on its side, it now looks like this. I'm a little slower because I have to load these as we go. So this is what we see now. This is how I see. All right. You with me?
Yeah, I'm paying attention.
All right. And then if takes a second to load here. And then if you look at this, we draw a line. This is what Globers say is curvature, because they think that because this line over here is farther away than I can see. I can only see here. So the horizon is this curve, and people will say, well, that means it's a sphere. No, it doesn't. This is the limit of my vision across the flat plane. You guys are drawing a line through space which doesn't make sense. It doesn't curve with my vision. You think this curve is Earth curve, but it's not.
And I want to talk a little bit about Dave saying that we can see too far. So a few examples would be the Chicago skyline. We can see the Chicago skyline across Lake Michigan.
Yep.
From 50 miles away. So
only when the conditions are right. You can't see it every day.
Right, because the air density blocks it many days. Sure.
I'm 5 miles from downtown, and I can't see that when it's raining.
But if the Earth were flat, you'd be able to see the skyline all the time, not only when the atmosphere. No, why not? Because that's why you can only see the top of the skyline, because of atmospheric refraction. It literally bends the light down.
No,
bad, Matt.
Okay,
no?
So a couple things. One, weather conditions highly affect what you can see. And like I said, if I could live 5 miles from downtown, and there'll be days when I can't see a single building because the air is so thick, because there's so much water in the air, say on a rainy day, or say on a foggy day, vision could be highly limited. Now, the way that
though,
let them finish.
How could we?
Let us finish.
Let them finish up.
Let me give you an example. Things disappear. We talk about ships sailing over the curve, right? And because they disappear from the bottom up. But things disappear from the bottom up on a flat surface, just like that. So if you were to go to Lowe's or Home Depot and put 3 bricks on the ground and put your camera right at ground level, and you start backing up, those bricks are going to disappear from the bottom up. The bottom one's going to disappear, then the middle one, then the top one. And the reason is, and Dave was trying to explain this a little bit, is that the way our vision works due to perspective, the ground is always going to rise. As you're looking, the ground is always going to rise to the horizon, and the sky is always going to fall to the horizon. They're going to meet right at that vanishing point. They're going to come together right there as you're looking at it. And what happens is when objects on the ground move beyond that ground line, when they move beyond that ground line, they start to get eclipsed by that ground line. Objects above will go until they're eclipsed by that ground line, but it won't be until much later as this ground line continues up. And that's why you can't see the bottom of the buildings of the Chicago skyline, but you shouldn't be able to see any buildings of the Chicago skyline because the Earth is supposedly 24,900 miles around, and using a formula for that, the whole thing should be hidden.
Actually, according to the Globers math, that is what you should be able to see during the atmospheric refraction, is just the top of the buildings, right? Because that's how light refracts. It bends it downwards over the curve.
But you can see almost the entire buildings.
Right.
I don't know. I think I looked at that video quite extensively. You can only see the top half of the buildings.
So Nick, the whole thing, when you're looking at a distance, it's not just the atmospheric density; it's the angular size. If there's moisture in the atmosphere, it's magnifying those buildings, and when it magnifies them, it pushes them into that point of convergence even more. The fact that we see different amounts than every day shows you that it's an optical thing, not a physical thing. If it was a physical thing, it would be the exact same amount every day when you can see them. But there's some famous footage from Bay, what's it called? Duck Bay or something? Not Duck Bay.
Joshua Nowicki.
No. There's over this bay. Someone did a time lapse all day long of this strip of buildings across the bay, and you could see the beach and everything, and all of a sudden the beach would disappear and the buildings would disappear, depending on the heat index of the day. As the day went, the buildings appeared and disappeared, appeared and disappeared. That's not because the Earth is flexing. It has to do with the optics of the air that you're looking through.
So you guys say the horizon always meets your eye level, right?
Not always, because you can't see forever. So the higher you are, the farther you can see, but that air becomes opaque. When it becomes opaque, you have a false horizon and things are in the distance. It looks lower. It looks lower because it's a false horizon. The horizon, just like these here, right? There's another mountain. See it. So if this was kind of flat land, you would think that this is the horizon here, but it's not. The horizon's way, 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 way out there. But you think it's the sky but it just has to do with your visibility.
Seth, you've been quiet the whole time. Do you have anything you want to add to the conversation?
Oh, tons. I just don't want them to run away yet.
Okay. I don't think anyone's going to run anywhere, but sure. Okay. Well, like
if you want to end the party now, just say so.
No, not yet.
Okay. Okay. So, but the drone thing, I don't know if I got a clear answer. So like when I had a drone with a gimbal on it, and my friend did this experiment too, and he was down at a beach and he rose it up a couple kilometers, like as high as the drone could go. And when we were watching the video, it looked like the horizon was always staying at your eye level, but we actually drew a flat line.
The horizon drops. The horizon drops because you can't see that far. The higher you go, the farther you're looking for the horizon, but that air becomes sky. The air blocks out the land and you see a lower horizon, but it's an optical horizon. The horizon is just the limit of your eyes, how far you can see. So the higher you go, the lower the horizon gets when there's atmospheric density.
Okay.
So is there like formulas or anything that we can actually, calculate to prove all of this, or is this just like a base by base kind of situation?
We're talking about seeing things too far away. The formula for the distance you should be able to see for a ball that's 24,900 miles in circumference, a good rule of thumb is to use the equation 8 inches per mile squared. And what that means is every mile squared times 8 inches will give you how much horizon should be hiding, or how much vertical height should be hiding an object at whatever you're trying to calculate. So at 100 miles, you got 100 times 100 times 8, and that gives you the amount of inches that should be hidden by curvature. And then there's different ways you have to adjust it based on your viewing height and things like that. But yeah, those are the things that flat earthers have done and gone out and said, hey, we're looking at things we shouldn't be able to see. We got the Chicago skyline, we got the Isle of Wight lighthouse in England. This is a great one here. I believe this is the mountains, or no, this is Dave's sunfade video.
Yeah, so let me show you what this is. This is
Sure.
I put a drone up, and let me just see where I am. The sun was way up high, and it went down, 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 and then it got to this apparent horizon, and it just sat there. It should have just kept going if the Earth was spinning, but it sat there. This is sped up 2,500%. It just sat there, and it didn't go down. So that alone proves that we're not spinning. It sat there, and it kind of got smaller, but this isn't about the size of the sun. What it shows you is it can't even push through the atmosphere. It disappeared into the thickness. Here it is again.
What was that? A video that you filmed?
I filmed this 7 different times. I have it in high res. I have it edited. I have a raw footage, and anybody can do it themselves. It has to be a super clear day. It has to be no humidity. It has to be like 32 degrees outside, and it has to be a super clear day. And it just faded out. It sat there at the horizon.
It'd be nice to get a solar filter on that thing.
Listen, no. Here's the thing: if you had a solar filter on it, you can't even see the sun. It blocks the sun out before it even gets to this point. So
that's not true.
It is true, 100% true.
No, it isn't.
Wait, it is, because this is the argument that all the ballers gave me. So I did it with a solar filter, and it was. Hold on, let me finish what I'm saying. I did it with a solar filter. It's totally gone. I brought it down, put it back up without a solar filter, and there's the sun again. So I absolutely proved it. But what I'm showing is, I have all of the videos.
With the solar filter on?
With the one with the solar filter, the sun fade out with the solar filter, the raw footage, the edited footage, and then when I launch the video up again, it's on my playlist called Sun Fade Out Playlist. But the thing is, I had the sun. I had the. I'm still talking. I think I'm still talking. I'm pretty sure I'm still talking. I'm still talking. Can you hear me?
I'm just
Is
saying,
my mic working? Hello?
In the background.
Hello?
For the people to see what you're talking about.
I'm talking. Pay attention.
Just let him finish. Sorry, Dave. Go ahead.
Here, you can unshare that. I had the sun. I had the drone. You can unshare. You can stop the sharing, please.
Okay.
I had the sun. I had the drone hovering, and the sun was just going down, 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 nice and steady. If the Earth was turning, it should keep going, but it didn't. It stopped, and it sat there for 10 minutes. Forget the size. Forget the fade out. It stopped going down, right? And that's because we can remodel this by getting a glass dome, and then you hold a light above it, and you drag the light across, and you're watching the dome. You'll watch the sun go up, it'll go right down to the bottom, and it'll stop, and it'll fade out. The same thing. So the source of the sun, I believe, is outside the dome, and we see the sun inside the dome. There you go.
And that's backed up by Genesis 1, where God created light on day 1. He didn't create the sun until day 4 after the firmament. So that also goes with the biblical account.
Well, now that you're done talking, can you share that video or give out the link maybe to your channel so people can go and watch the video that you were just describing?
It's DITRH. It's initials for Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole, and you go to the Sun Fade Out playlist.
Okay, people. So that's what a couple people were asking for in the chat. You can go ahead and check that out. Well,
if you want to find this stuff really easy, you can get my app. It's the Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app. All those links are there to everything. Super easy to find, and it's stuff that Google won't serve you. So
I think that might be the app that Melvin uses. Maybe.
He showed us.
Yeah,
does anybody?
No, that has been used before. It's an app that's been used before. We used it actually in Australia. It was one of the best debunks of the flat Earth I ever had. It's a great app. Recommend the download. So anyway, let me see if I can clear a few things up. Let's start with the Chicago Skyline Mirage. As a guy who, Seth. As a guy who has actually been to Warren Dunes, the one thing that flat earthers don't tell you is that that image was taken while being 200 feet in the air. It wasn't at the shoreline as they claim. There is dunes on the other side of that lake that are 200 feet in the air. I know because I went there not only with the Nikon P900, the flat earther camera of choice, but also with the Nikon P1000, the flat earther camera of choice. And what I saw was these towers stretching and collapsing as the day progressed. And that shows that atmospheric refraction is at play here, along with the height benefits of Warren Dunes. Once you take the height benefit into it, we're only looking at a refraction of 0.1238 degrees. We're talking about fractions of a single degree needed in order to get the image of the Chicago Skyline Mirage. The second thing is the perspective. What flat earthers will constantly say is that perspective will eventually make things rise. They don't. They have never done that. All perspective is trigonometry. It's a mathematical formula. Alpha equals 2 times the arctan of G over 2R. What the law of perspective states is that as an object gets further away from you, it will occupy a smaller amount of your vision. Eventually, the available resolution of your eye will be insufficient to make out the object, but it is as a whole. It doesn't mean that it's going to arbitrarily disappear bottom up and then eventually out of sight. That's not what the law of perspective does. We don't have the law of perspective making things arbitrarily disappear bottom up when we're looking at the sky. It's only when it's on the ground. Well, let's imagine we're inside of a really long, perfectly straight hallway, and I see an object disappearing bottom up and then eventually out of sight. Now let's imagine that I'm able to just flip myself upside down. Will the horizon now change 180 degrees with me, or will the horizon now be bending up with the law of perspective? This is an inherent contradiction with the way the flat earthers describe the law of perspective because they don't take the trigonometry into account.
I think Dave's sunfade video does that perfectly. I think it's good. It's exactly what you described.
Hey, and Nick, can you come back on camera?
This is where, hang on.
Sorry. What's up, man?
Just like you, I would like to not be interrupted. But that is why we have our own sun video called Zeticism.com versus the sun. And I use a solar filter. And I did not see what you saw because unlike you, I actually know how to focus my camera. And in a perfectly focused camera with a solar filter, I saw it disappear all the way below the horizon.
This guy's a little too condescending for me, Dave. I might just jump off here.
Yeah. Hey, Nick. I came on this show to do a video with you and Matt and I. And you have the guys off camera. The guy sounds exactly like Red's rhetoric, using the exact same words, exact same arguments. Unless he gets on camera right now, I'm done.
Hey, David,
what is he saying? That's so rude.
Because it's all nonsense. And the other thing is, he doesn't understand how celestial objects.
Did I not say that this was going to be the end of the show? If you want to leave and run away like a little bitch, you're more than happy.
I don't understand what's happening right now.
Hey, Nick, you didn't tell me. You surprised us with a friggin' troll.
Once
an idiot troll.
I will explain in detail how he's wrong about literally everything.
Nick, you can either kick him off or I'm out.
Well, I didn't know he was trolling. He was just talking about his video. I don't understand.
It's fine. Listen, I'm out. If you don't want to kick him off, I'm out.
Well, you can leave, but I don't think he did anything wrong. Wow.
Well, there you go, chat.
Wow, dude. That was crazy. Those guys literally just ran away. You were literally
They do. You want to know why? It's because I have become an expert with the amount of shit that they've been pushing. I have been debating them for years, and they're scared of me. Why do you think
all he was doing was talking about a video that he made, and they left instantly.
Hey, Red. Me and Nick, we had this conversation before, man. We're kind of debating on how long they'd actually stay.
That's why I said if you really want the video to be over this quickly, be my guest. But
I had no idea they would leave.
You weren't being mean. You weren't saying anything rude or condescending. And it's kind of surprising.
They're simply wrong, and they don't like
everyone in the chat too. They're like, ha ha ha, loser. Like, dude, all Red was doing was talking about a video he filmed, and they literally just left. All of a sudden, Matt's like, this guy's too condescending for me. I'm out of here. Like, what, dude? Are you guys serious?
Yeah, some people are saying in the chat that they're disappointed in the panel. I mean, look, Red wasn't saying anything wrong. I mean, you guys can determine yourself if he was being mean or condescending, if he was being malicious. All he was doing was rebutting the evidence that they provided. And what did they do? They left.
So to continue with that, let me just get all this out.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, for sure.
I'll show you what they would have had to respond with.
Yeah, you can pull up a video if you want to share a screen. I'm interested to see this now.
Absolutely. On Sean Hufford's channel, you can actually see a time lapse.
Hold on a sec. Just for the audience, these aren't beer cans. This is actually carbonated water, and I'll clean them up. I'll clean them up when I feel like it.
Sounds. Hey, carbonated water.
Hey, Red, they're calling you a paid troll.
A paid troll. Oh, we paid him a lot of money.
Yeah, Red isn't doing this to be paid as a troll. He's doing it because people are presenting wrong ideologies and they're like making up science.
Dude, I just can't. It started off so good, and then those guys literally just left, like instantly left. All you were doing was talking about a video you filmed. Like he brought up his own video he filmed. You started talking about your video, and they literally just left, like instantly.
Nick, let me just explain something. I'm going to deviate away from what I was going to say just to explain this very simple fact. These guys do not want to debate with someone that actually knows what the hell they're talking about. They would rather talk to people who haven't done the measurements, who haven't done the observations, and who haven't actually deep dived this to the point of obsession to find out what is really going on with our world. When it came to the Chicago skyline mirage, they point to one picture on Google. But who's the person on this panel that actually went to that location and filmed it for themselves? This guy.
Come in, then. This guy says he'll debate you any day. Okay, come in right now, bro.
Come in right now. They say the dome is a thing. They don't want to talk to the guy that confirmed for himself that no dome exists. I'm the one that verified it. I measured the altitude of the space station. I measured its speed. I measured its size. It's a real thing. I not only filmed the fucking planets like Mars and stuff, but I measured the distance to those planets to show the true scale of our solar system.
Wow. My email's on screen there to the guy that said you'll debate any day. Come on. There's
just so you guys know, I mean, obviously, we believe in the Bible. We're Christians, and Red, has his own beliefs and stuff, but math doesn't lie, people.
Yeah, that's funny.
It doesn't lie.
My position is the I don't know position. I don't make a claim on whether God does or does not exist.
Yeah, I know. I told Seth that you're agnostic, and I just can't believe they left.
Man.
I can't believe they left like that, bro. You didn't do anything, say anything rude or nothing wrong.
No. I told the truth, which was the guy did not focus his camera correctly. And let me just make this clear. Okay, what does an out of focus camera image look like if I were to look at a light bulb? It looks like a circular blur, right?
Yeah.
Now, if I were to cover or hide half of that light bulb, you would still see a circular blur. If I were to hide 3/4 of the light bulb, you would have a circular blur. If I were to hide it to a point where only the tip of that light bulb was showing, you would see a circular blur. That's what was being shown. If I show my own solar filter video and the camera's focused properly and it shows it actually disappearing behind the horizon, that shows either my camera is so amazing and good, practically telepathic to see the horizon that Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole says doesn't exist, or he filmed it wrong.
Yeah. So
dude, you know what? They had no problem when Sepp was here. Sepp didn't show his face the whole time.
Yeah.
All of a sudden they're like, if this guy doesn't show his face right now, we're leaving.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. So
dude, I don't know.
Another thing is the law perspective. The reason why, what really tipped them off, I bet, is because I know the law perspective like the back of my hand. The law perspective does not, I repeat, does not state that objects are going to disappear bottom up and then eventually out of sight. Anyone that says otherwise is lying to you.
Yeah.
Period.
Just so you guys know, in the chat, right, they're saying like, oh, where's the proof? Look, you guys can go check out Red's channel, right? Like, again, we may not have the same belief system, but we understand that in math and during, any process on this planet that is able to be duplicated, we have to accept it as fact.
No.
Hey, FE Core, you calling us cowards? My email's on the screen, man. You're more than welcome to come on the show right now.
Come on in, Effie. I'm waiting for you to
come and prove.
I
don't understand why the chat is getting so upset. We're literally just trying to prove.
That's because they invited all their flat Earth friends.
We're trying to prove the shape of the Earth, and these guys are like freaking out, man. Like I don't understand.
It's weird because like with any type of crazy idea or like cult, right? They don't want to be proven anything. They just want to believe what they believe, and if you show any evidence against that, it's like they freak out.
And Red is right. It is all the flat Earth people in here.
Let me play this. On my channel, I have a debate with their best friend. His name is Jeranism. It was an absolute slaughter. And here's the thing.
You know what's funny is we were just watching that debate today. Me and Sepp, the one from 5 years ago, and you debated Jeranism. Yeah, we were literally just watching that.
Yeah, like.
But here's the thing. The way the debate was structured, it was this: flat Earth or round Earth. Which model best comports with reality? And for our segments, we had to present evidence for our model, not evidence against the others. And when it was Jeranism's time to speak, he had nothing. He admitted in that debate he had no evidence. But Jeranism is also friends with Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole, Bob Nodell, the Morgal, who claimed to have all this evidence, but yet he brought nothing with him. It's very telling, isn't it?
You mean Bob Nodell, the guy who accidentally proved the rotation of the Earth?
Yeah, then try to hide it. So
most of the flat earthers now say he's a shill, and like they don't even like
this. They bought this freaking gyro for $20,000, and then they said, "Okay, let's turn it on, and see what happens." Captured a drift of 15 degrees per hour. So like, damn.
Yeah.
Capturing the drift at 15 degrees per hour, and then they're like, "Oh,
it's
crap!"
ridiculous. Yeah, we seen that, man, and like we even had people in the chat say, you guys edited that."
Let's bring the video up right now. Let's bring the video up right now.
Yeah, like how could we edit that video? What are you talking about?
No, they said they edited it. No, they said they edited it.
Oh yeah,
the behind the curve people.
Man,
there's like a 2-minute or like a 40-second clip of it on YouTube. We'll play it real quick. Here it is from behind the curve. Bob Modell and his ring laser gyro.
Yeah, they're saying that video is disinformation. It's not there. It's so.
Is that
funny.
what they're saying in the chat right now? That it's disinformation.
That video came out, I mean, these people were like following him around.
What's that, Red?
That is the ultimate case of denialism, especially when between the graphics they actually play a video of Bob Modell saying that exact thing.
Yeah, it's intellectual dishonesty at its finest.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you're going to play it?
Yeah. An experiment to test rotation to the Earth. If the Earth is spinning at one rotation every 24 hours, that means that every hour it has to turn 15 degrees. And if a gyroscope is mounted anywhere on Earth, it's going to drift. In today's 21st century navigation systems, they're using what's called a ring laser gyroscope. It is extremely precise. If we could simply get one of these ring laser gyroscopes, we would be able to prove once and for all that there is no rotation to the Earth. One of the people in the community actually purchased one for $20,000. But what we found is when we turned on that gyroscope, we found that we were picking up a drift, a 15-degree-per-hour drift.
Oh, thanks, Bob.
Now,
I like this part
we were taken aback
when he's like, "We're not willing to accept it."
That's kind of a problem, right?
Wow, that's kind of a problem.
We're not willing to accept that.
Right
so
there.
we started looking for ways to disprove.
We're not willing to accept that. That should tell you everything about these people, bro. Like, he just blew the truth wide open in his face, and he's like, well, obviously we're not willing to accept that.
We're not willing to accept what a $20,000 piece of equipment told us.
Yeah, and the funny thing is there's still people in the chat right now saying, Bob is an honest man, you troll cowards, and all this stuff.
Really? Then
Look, you guys...
Then let me just be honest here for a second. Let me just be honest here. If Bob is such an honest man, then why did he try to hide this? And also, keep this in mind. There was actually 2 gyros. I don't know if you two know this, but did you know that there was actually 2 gyroscopes built for Bob Modell? One of them was purchased, which was the ring laser gyro that you saw.
Someone in the chat was asking who bought it. It was one of the flat earthers in the flat earth community that actually bought it for Bob for 20 grand. That's the kind of money. That's the kind of money these flat earthers are making off of the flat earth people. Someone just gave him 20 grand to buy a gyroscope. Like, dude, he knows the earth is round. The guy's making bankroll.
But Nick, let me tell you something. This is a crazy story. The second gyro was actually built using a physical flywheel. It was built for Bob, but for one reason or another, it never made it into Bob's arsenal. But it was commissioned by Bob. It was built by someone else for Bob, whatever. But when they turned this thing on, he's like, well, I have this gyro. Might as well see what it does. And he posted a video of this gyro drifting. The exact amount we would expect to see on a rotating Earth. And what was Globebusters' response to this? They flagged the video to oblivion. They copyright struck it down. It still exists on YouTube. You can still find it. But they were doing the devil's job trying to hide this video, because not only do we have a ring laser gyro that proves the rotation of the Earth, we also have a physical gyro that shows the rotation of the Earth. And they were like, oh, damn, if this gets out, then our conspiracy is blown right in the fucking water. Don't be honest. Just hide it.
Yeah, that's crazy, dude. I find it crazy that all these people in the chat are like, you're wrong, you're wrong. And it's like, my email is right here on the screen. I haven't gotten one single email, bro. I haven't gotten one single email from one of these people that will come on and disprove you. Why is that?
it's so weird too, like how they're trying to say like, oh, the Bible is what proves this. The Bible does not prove that. And the people that wrote the Bible, the Israelites, they never taught this. Like that in that book he showed was the one he wrote.
Yeah, that Matt Long guy wrote. That was the book that he wrote. It was his own book.
I'm like talking about like ancient Jews. Like I've seen, some of their books. They never taught anything like this.
No, dude, we know David is a Jew. David is a Jew. He comes on my channel all the time, dude. He would laugh at that. He would laugh at that if you said that his people taught flat Earth. Like, dude, the Bible does not teach flat Earth.
It doesn't. It never has. And where it got from, I don't know, dude.
Flat Earthers Flat Earthers are the ones who said it's in that. They're the ones that did it, bro.
Like it's not even possible. Like it defies so many different things, man. Like you heard how he said that he doesn't know what the moon is. Like what?
I know what the moon is. The moon is a big ball of rock orbiting around Earth.
Yeah, exactly.
Wait. I know what I wanted to say. He's like, and all these circular craters. You want to know why? It's because when you have rocks and debris that impact the moon and they're going, at 20,000 kilometers an hour, they explode on impact. That's why they're circular. They explode.
Dude, that guy, I couldn't believe that. It started off so good, and you're like, oh, you want to end the show? You want to end the show? He like called it instantly, dude. Right away, that Matt guy's like, this guy's a bit too rude. I think I'm gonna take off. Man, that was. Like literally,
dude, this was even before Red even really started saying anything though. Like they were like squinting their eyes real quick, kind of.
That's because they knew it was him.
What's going on?
But everyone in the chat was like, "It's Red with a voice changer." I'm like, "What?
Yeah.
A voice changer?"
Like, look, Red. What I stand by is if I'm wrong, I'm gonna admit that I'm wrong. You know what I mean? Like, we can't hide the truth. Any amount of truth will be able to stand up to scrutiny, right? And I mean, obviously, they didn't want their truth to be scrutinized. They didn't want it to be looked at a little too closely. Because you're right. Before you started talking, Red, they were fine and dandy with trying to explain to me, all of these theories and stuff. And I mean, I'm not too well known in the verse of mathematics and stuff like that, but I mean, they could probably get away with it with me, right? They could probably get away with it with Nick and try to, circumvent our intelligence by trying to use these things. But here you come and you're like, no, here, look at this, and that's proven wrong, and they just want to run.
Oh, I love that, dude. I love it. I don't. How can any of you guys in the audience saying all this mean stuff? How can you guys have any integrity with yourselves? Like all this guy was doing was talking about a video he filmed, and those guys literally ran away like instantly. And everyone in the chat's like, "You guys are cowards," and they're like calling Red down. Like, dude, that's crazy.
Look, the thing is, you guys could say whatever you want, but the honest truth was, Red was rebutting their statement. And they chose not to take it. They were like, you know what? No.
He didn't even call them a bitch until they left. Like he wasn't even using, and he wasn't even being rude at all until they literally left. And again, he keeps saying we're ill-informed. Like, please email me and come and inform us. Like, we want to have.
Yeah, that's what this whole panel was about, to be informed. And we were listening to what they had to say. And Red was like, hey, look, you're wrong. I'm going to tell you why you're wrong. And they were like, oh, I don't want to hear that. I'm out of here.
Let me if I send you a video, can you like fast forward to a certain part in that video and play it through?
Yeah,
you want to post it in the chat real quick and I'll pull it up? Or
exactly. Now I'm going to ask you to freeze frame it at a certain spot. So at 3 minutes 6 seconds on this video, go ahead. There's the video. 3 minutes 6 seconds. I want you to freeze frame it.
I'm in my email right now. You can do it, Sep. I just sent a link to someone named Nae Young who wants to address Nae Young Gay Young. I sent you the link, so he wants to come and address Red's claims about.
Okay, so at 3 minutes and what now, Red?
3 minutes 6 seconds.
Sure.
Go ahead and freeze frame it right there for everyone if you can.
And guys, we want to have a peaceful, civilized conversation with you guys. Like, I don't hate flat earthers. If you want to come on the show and talk about math and science and proof of the earth being flat.
I'm more than happy to have a civilized conversation with anyone. Just, don't come to me and with intellectual dishonesty. It's just not going to work.
For sure.
Okay,
is it shared?
Yeah, right there. Can you full screen? Thank you. Okay, so this is just a really big gun. Now that angle where it's at 20 degrees. It's going to fire a projectile into that cylinder, and inside that cylinder is a tray of sand. So as you can see, this projectile is going to be coming at it at an angle. So, sir, what I would like for you to do is I would like for you to play that video at 3 minutes 20 seconds going forward.
Sure.
What did I lie about, David?
You want the audio on, or does it matter?
No, you don't need the audio. Don't want you to get copyright struck. But basically, you see, it's a glancing blow. It's a glancing blow, so therefore the crater should be oblong, right? Nope. Look at what is left behind. A perfectly circular crater. And yet it was coming in at an angle at 20 degrees. The reason is because the projectile that was fired exploded on impact. That explosion causes a circular crater.
See, this is evidence. This is stuff I can understand. I don't understand why people get so upset about this.
Well, because it goes against what they want to teach, man.
And that David guy was in the chat, and he called me a lying POS and all this stuff. And it's like, David, what did I lie about? We were having a friendly conversation. Red started talking about a video that he filmed, and you guys literally just left. You instantly left.
Yeah, Red, I can understand, man, why they're afraid to debate you. Because, I mean, like, I may not know a bunch of, math and science and things like that, right? But I do understand scripture. And it is daunting if you're talking to someone that knows nothing about the subject you're speaking on. They want to just, man, I'm out of here.
And if I can just address the chat, I didn't lie about Red coming. I'm not the one that chose my name. Anyway, when you join StreamYard, you can call yourself whatever you want. Okay? And when I was talking to David, there was no stipulation that I had to tell them who was coming to the show. So I didn't lie at all. Like there was no
David, hey, look, we're going to ask you questions about what it is you're believing. We're going to talk about this stuff. And that's what we wanted to do. But
you guys can go back to the beginning. If you don't believe me, go back to the beginning of the video. I literally told him that my co-host and his friend were coming on the show. He didn't ask me who it was. He didn't say, who are you guys bringing? You're not allowed to bring this person. Like,
One more. That link, I don't want you to play the whole thing. I just want you to freeze frame it at 10 minutes, 45 seconds if you can.
Yeah, give me 1 second.
Thanks for joining us, Niang Gayang. Sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your name. Just give us a sec here. We're just going to play a video.
10 minutes and 14 seconds?
No, 45. 10 minutes, 45 if you can.
Okay.
And full screen it if you can, please. You don't need to play the whole thing. You just need to show that screen.
Okay. 1 second.
Yeah. And once it's up, I'll just briefly explain something. By the way, when you, Nick, do you know what superposition of a picture is? You can stack two images on top of each other to see if there's a difference between the two.
I do now.
Yeah. Okay, this freeze frame, just leave it on this frame.
Sure.
So this is a lunar transit of the International Space Station. So the bottom trail is from my best friend's telescope. The top trail is from my Nikon P1000. You see how there's a shift between these two? That's the difference between my footage and his footage. Why is there a shift? Because we were separated by about 1 kilometer or 750 meters. So because we were separated, the International Space Station appeared to transit a different part of the moon. So we had a different view of the station, even though it was the same transit. We can use this to make measurements. Now, you don't have to understand the numbers that are on the screen. It's explained in my video, but this is actual measurements. When I say I measured the International Space Station's altitude and speed, this is what I'm talking about. I went out into the field. I took this observation myself. I did the measurements myself, and I explained the math step by step. This is what I show. This is what I do. So to say that I'm lying about something is to call reality itself a liar. And I don't think that is a tenable position.
Yeah, that's deceptive when you're actually making up lies about stuff like that.
Yeah, especially if you can't verify your claims.
Red being on the show is not me being deceptive in any way. Like where did those guys say, "Oh, you got to tell us"?
By the way, guys, I just want to make this clear. Nick and I don't know. I'm sorry. What's your?
It's Seth, man.
Okay, listen. I called myself Seth for a specific reason. Nick did not tell me to call myself anything different. Nick is perfectly innocent in that. I called myself Seth for one reason, and that's because I didn't want them to run away instantly. That's the only reason I did it. And guess what? The very moment I started speaking and they knew who I was, what happened? They ran away. So it looks like I was justified in doing what I was doing.
Yeah, and I didn't hide his identity, Eric. When you come and join the show, you choose your own name. He typed that in because he knew they would run away. Anyway,
Nick, you did not pressure me to do anything. You did not tell me to do anything. You did none of that. That was all on me because again, I was like, okay, I'm not going to be able to have a conversation with them. At the very moment I walk in, they say, "Oh, Red, that guy knows how to debunk my nonsense. Run away!"
Yeah. I just invited you to the show.
Yeah, I'm kind of happy that we let them talk a little bit, so that they could say their piece, right? Because it's not like an immediate, debate. They had more than enough time to lay out their position and everything. And I mean, you had what, 2 minutes before they turned tail?
It's usually less than that. I'm actually surprised I got 2 minutes.
I don't know if they really knew who you were. So they're kind of like
ambush, dude. Like, dude. All they were doing is talking about the shape of the earth. You flat earthers can literally say whatever you want. You can call us deceptive or call me deceptive, but I literally like whatever. Yeah.
Again, everyone in the chat, like, you have to understand, if you have the truth, then it should stand up to scrutiny. You should not have a problem with people asking questions and, by all definitions, disagreeing with your claims. You have to be able to show the evidence behind what you're talking about. It can't just be, believe me, I know it.
We have someone here. Let's unmute him. Niang Giang.
Can I say something real quick?
Yeah,
before you get him on?
Okay, sure. What do you want to say?
So I'm not a flat earther, or I'm not even a globe earther. Y'all know me. I'm neither. And it was funny because he didn't even basically he was saying some things right about the camera, and basically he was responding to them, and when he was calling them out on it, all they did was turn tail and run. That's what I saw. And so I mean that was it. I mean, like I said, I'm neither. Like, I'm a Christian, but I don't think any of this is essential, so it doesn't matter to me. So I have no opinion in this whatsoever. But seeing that, it was like, okay, like, these guys are what? Like, I mean, are they scared? Like, are they lying about it? Like, what is it?
Yeah, dude, they literally ran away like instantly. So it was crazy. Anyway, Niang, sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, but how are you? Welcome. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you very much for having me on. No worries that you didn't pronounce my name correctly. Actually, it's a very hard name for people to pronounce correctly, so no problem about that. Cool, yeah. Then. So
would you mind pronouncing your name real quick? Just so we can, I'm saying.
Yeah. How do you pronounce it?
Okay, so you know how to pronounce the Japanese currency, the yen?
The yen, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, just add an N before that and a G after that. So you have Niang.
Niang. All right, I'll try and remember, bro.
So it's very nice to have you on, Niang. And
the pleasure's mine as well. Thank you very much for having me on.
So yeah, if you'd like to address some of the comments that Seth there made, go ahead and address them, my friend.
Okay, so Seth mentioned that the bottom-up disappearance of objects is the same as the law of perspective. I'm not aware of anyone making that claim. That is separate, related, yes, but not the same as the law of perspective. So the law of perspective essentially is that as objects recede from you, or as the distance between you and an object increases, the object shrinks in size, in particular angular size, right? It eventually gets to the point that your eye cannot resolve that. Your eye, not just your eye, any optical instrument with a circular aperture is unable to resolve that. I mean, that is basic physics, right? The incapacity to resolve that simply means that the object literally just disappears. You no longer see it, right? And that is different from what many flat earthers call compression. For lack of a better term, this is not something that mainstream physics discusses. The idea, and Matt tried to explain that. I believe even maybe David also tried to do that. But basically, if you place your viewing angle perpendicular to an object on a surface, say your whether it's your eye or an optical instrument, if it's at the very bottom of the object, as you increase the distance, the object disappears bottom up, right? That is also very, very verifiable on our Earth. You can do that on a table. You can do that on a floor in a large warehouse, for example. That doesn't mean that the surface of the table is curved or the surface of the floor in the warehouse is curved. You know, so if I got Seth wrong, I'm happy for him to correct me. But if he's conflating the disappearance of objects bottom up with the law of perspective, no one is making that conflation except him. Like I said, I'm willing to be corrected if I got him wrong at that point. Second question that I have for Seth is, he stated categorically that the image that was produced of the Chicago skyline, I mean, he says it was taken from 200 feet. Does he know that as a fact? If he does know that as a fact, what evidence does he have for that? Was he the one that took the shot? Does he know the atmospheric conditions on the day the shot was taken? Yeah, so because except if he took the shot or he spoke with the person who took that shot, for him to make that categorical statement could be misleading, if not actually false. So those are just 2 points that I'd like Seth, whoever he is, apparently he's not Seth, but whoever he is, if he can clear up those issues.
Sure.
All right. I guess I'll work in reverse order. Yes, I do know for a fact that the image was taken 200 feet in the air. And the reason is, yes, the guy who took the image told me exactly where he took the image. It's at a place called Warren Dunes. Warren Dunes is a place I personally went to. Warren Dunes is 200 feet in the air. I brought my Nikon P900 to Warren Dunes to actually repeat the observation. And you can see that observation on a YouTube channel called Sean Hufford, where we did a time lapse of the Chicago skyline mirage from the exact same spot that Joshua took his image. The reason why we were so confident in our spot is because we were in contact with Joshua. And in the future, we're actually planning on doing an interview with him on Fight the Flat Earth's YouTube channel, where he will confirm that the spot I was at was also the same spot that he was at when he took the image. But I went to the same location. I went to Warren Dunes. Warren Dunes extends up by a lot. It wasn't taken at the shoreline, which is what Jeranism originally said in his video, I think posted in 2016. It was not taken at the shoreline. They have a handicap of 200 feet on their side. So on to the second question. I have heard it conflated multiple times that the reason why ships disappear bottom up and then eventually out of sight is because of the law of perspective. But that's mainly because they don't give a definition of what the law of perspective actually is. And you're right. As an object gets further away from you, the available resolution of your eye will eventually become insufficient to make out the object. However, it disappears in totality all the time, which means something external to law of perspective is at work here. I say that the external thing that's at play is geometry, the geometry of a spherical Earth. And on very clear days, you can see this with my Tampa Bay observation, with the Lake Pontchartrain observation, and even the Chicago skyline observation, because Joshua just posted a new picture of the Chicago skyline. And you can see that half of the towers are missing from 200 feet in the air. So hopefully those answers your question, but I'm more than happy to clarify if I didn't hit it on the head.
A couple of things. Thank you very much for your responses. A couple of things. Can you give me contact information about the person you claim you are sure took those photos, please? And then are you able to do that?
Contact information? What do you want? The guy's phone number and stuff?
I don't have his phone number.
I suppose he doesn't mind. I mean, obviously, if the person minds, then I'm not going to get it. But like, you know, if I'm an author and I contribute to knowledge, I'm not sure that I would not want my details to be known. So if I publish an article, for example, I would have means for people to contact me for questions, I suppose. I mean, that's people that contribute to the body of knowledge would generally entertain questions about the knowledge, the content that they've contributed. That's my expectation.
Yeah, I think Red had already said too that you can actually go and see the location it was on, and that it is over 200, feet above.
Hang on. On the side right now, I'm posting the gentleman's first and last name.
Joshua Nweke.
Yes, that is his name on Facebook, and I believe that's also his name on Twitter. Go ahead and ask him a very simple question. Where did you take that image? And he will respond, Warren Dunes.
Yeah, I'll do that. Other issues, just so that we don't waste too much time on this. So, according to globe geometry, how much hidden height? How much height should be hidden at 200 feet from the distance that picture was taken? I think it was 60 miles. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't claim that I know all the details. Was it 60 miles? Or
I think it was 55. I don't know. I can double check.
Okay, well, whatever. Okay, so you don't know that for sure offhand right now?
No, I do know that I did the math on this, and I found that the refraction that would be needed would be 0.12 degrees.
So let's take it in steps. Let's take it in steps.
Really quick. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
I just got $100 super chat.
Yeah.
Man. That's
so I
crazy.
just wanted to shout that out real quick. Thank you so much for that.
Dude. When will there be a debate about living in a computer simulation? Well, we're going to have to honor that because that's like the biggest super chat I've ever had in my life. So thank you. I'll have to find someone that wants to debate that. Living in a computer simulation. Thank you. Sorry, guys, to cut in on there.
No, it's all good.
Yeah.
It's all good. So to answer your question, the Willis Tower is 1,354 feet. And according to the Earth Curve Calculator, you would expect a hidden height of 946 feet, which means even with zero refraction, you would get, 1354. So yeah, 1354. And then you take away that from 946. That means you should still be able to see 408 feet of the tower. Refraction is only going to allow you to see more of it.
So, well, are you talking about a superior mirage or an inferior mirage here?
The one where the light bends with the curve of the Earth. I think that's called a superior mirage.
Good. So good. So that's right. Now, so don't you think it's arbitrary without having the atmospheric measurements of the air, intervening air between the observer and the object, without having definitive data about that, to now reach the conclusion that a superior mirage is being created?
Hang on, I just want to be clear. I'm not making the claim that a superior mirage is actually there. What I'm saying is that a superior mirage can easily explain what we are seeing. Flat earthers have constantly made the claim, and Jeranism is one of these in his video posted in 2016, that the only thing that explains what we're seeing is the fact that the Earth is flat. I say no. Another possibility is that, one, we're at an altitude of 200 feet, and that atmospheric refraction is at work. And if you take both of those into account, it perfectly explains what we're seeing. I'm simply illustrating that there is another possibility, despite the flat earthers' claim to the contrary.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. Because a TV journalist stated definitively, and I thought you were repeating that claim. The TV journalist definitively said that it was a superior, well, he didn't say it was a superior mirage, he said it was a mirage. We all know it has to be a superior mirage, not the inferior one, because the inferior one would do the exact opposite, would bend the light rays upwards, not downwards, right? So I'm glad that you've made the clarification that you're not making a definitive claim that a superior mirage caused that, right? Because I want that to be clear. Many times,
sorry to cut in, but doesn't refraction bend light downwards, not upwards?
It depends on the kind of refraction we're talking about. It all depends. It all depends on the atmospheric condition at the moment of observation, right? So when you're in a desert, when you're in a desert and it's an inferior mirage happening, so the light rays come from above, you think you're seeing an oasis or a river, but it's actually the reflection of the sky, right? So the ground, the hot surface of the ground reflects the sky. The kind of mirage that is being claimed it makes the Chicago skyline appear, and many other things that should have been hidden behind the curve, is the opposite of that. Is the superior mirage, where there's an inversion where the layers above are warmer instead, rather than the inferior mirage scenario. So that clarification is very, very important, because when scientists make a claim, they have to support that with A, data, B, simulation, a mathematical model, or a combination of this, right? So it's misleading at best, fraudulent at worst for a scientist, or for anyone to claim that they're making a scientific claim that I make an observation, I see an object that should definitely have been hidden by the curve. It's always a mirage. I mean, there are zillions. Hold on, well, I'll just be done in like a few seconds. There are zillions of pictures, images obtained of objects that should have been hidden behind like a mile of curve, or behind like hundreds of feet of curve. And then in 100% of the cases, we've been told it's a superior mirage. I say, before you can make that as a scientific claim, you must tell me that you have obtained data about the atmospheric conditions and shown that, in fact, they would cause light to be refracted in that manner. And I'm just doing something here. This is heuristics. I'm using some heuristics here. Heuristically, you cannot tell me that 100% of the time it's going to be a superior mirage. I'm talking about observations that have been obtained from various locations on Earth at different times of the year, different times of the day. I mean, there's more than enough. I can't bring them from the top of my head. I haven't been compiling this, but I can always compile them or send you to links to now claim definitively that it is always a superior mirage. That is scientific fraud.
Can I say something real quick? When it comes to the Chicago skyline mirage, we have a very unique situation here. You know, the tower in question is called the Willis Tower, correct?
I don't know much about Chicago. I'm not an American citizen. Yeah, so I don't really know much about that area at all.
Okay. Well, if you can, Nick, can you do me a favor? Bring up an image of the Willis Tower, formerly known as the Sears Tower. I just want to illustrate something real quick, because I'm actually going to go forward with what you said, which could be scientific. I'm going to take a huge risk. I'm going to state, for a fact, I am making a definitive claim that there is refraction in the image.
Okay, so here it is.
You would support that with data?
Yes, and I'm about to explain how.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So in order for me to explain, leave that image right there. Or can you full screen that image so we
I'll
get a
try.
better shot?
Yeah, let me try and see if I can.
Open image in new tab.
Oh yeah, I got it here. Hold up.
Open that image in
Yeah,
a new
here,
tab.
if you want to take this opportunity to maybe pull up some of your links or anything like that, we'll be happy to share those too.
Okay,
Here.
understood.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, thank you. So this is the Willis Tower. Do you notice that the Willis Tower has a very unique shape to it?
Yeah, it is crazy looking.
It is crazy looking. Each one of those pillars or steps or levels or whatever you want to call it, they illustrate a certain height. So the second highest pillar or step, or again, whatever you want to call it, let's just call them sections. The second highest section represents a certain amount of feet off the ground. Now, did you know that in the original image, you only saw the third step from the top all the way to the top? You never saw anything below that.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say to those guys before they left.
Something else. There's also something else. You can also tell in the image that Joshua took that the image was stretched. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to post a link, or I'm sorry, not a link. I'm going to find an image of the Chicago Skyline Mirage directly. And I want you to bring up this image.
Sure.
So let me send it to you. Bear with me for a quick moment.
No problem. Where are you sending it to me on? Twitter?
I'm going to send to you in the internal chat.
Okay.
Okay, in the internal chat.
In the private chat section, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so go ahead and now remember this image that you have currently on your screen. Now show that.
Okay, here we go. Switching to. Oh.
There we go. Now remember the very unique shape of this tower. So this means now it's a very tall one all the way to the left.
This one?
Yeah.
I thought it was this one here with that white thing on top.
Nope, it's the other one. It looks really different, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. You can only see.
That's because you're looking at it edge on. But notice something else. Notice the top pillar, the skinny bit.
Yeah.
The size is not proportional to how it actually looks in reality. If you were to twist your view of the Sears Tower, and you can do this on Google Earth, you will see that the proportions have been stretched. You can superimpose both images on top of each other, and they will never match up, even though they are images of the same exact tower. Now, why would the image stretch? It's because there is atmospheric refraction occurring. This is something that you can do by yourself. So I don't necessarily need to look at the atmospheric conditions of the day to confirm that atmospheric refraction is happening. All I need to do is compare this image to a nice clear shot of the Chicago skyline, or I'm sorry, the Willis Tower, because of its very unique shape.
You've actually done all this, haven't you?
Oh, yes, I have. And I have a video that demonstrates that very point. And if you give me a few, I will grab it for you.
Yeah, so he has a video where he actually did this.
Yes, I did.
The point,
Hey,
once again.
I'm sorry to cut you off. Just for a second, Red, people in the chat are asking for your channel.
I'll put it in the description right now. In the video description, I'll put a link to his channel right now, guys.
Yeah, you'll just see.
You guys can go. You can go check out. He's got all this work. Like everything he says, he can back up in his videos. Like the guy, he might be an agnostic and not believe in the same theology I do, but his math is sound. And
again, I don't make the claim that God does not exist. I want to make that clear.
Yeah, I know.
I do not make that claim. If someone says, "Oh, he believes that God doesn't exist," that is not my position.
I know, bro. It's all good. Like I don't think it matters because we're talking about the shape of the earth right now. Anyway,
correct. But people keep coming to that channel or my channel with that, and I'm like, no, that's not my position. Don't strawman me.
Yeah, and again, like, look, this is something that I've stated before. Everyone in the chat, Red may have a differing opinion on our beliefs, right? But that doesn't disqualify him actually doing the groundwork and understanding science and understanding the mathematics behind the world we live in, the reality that we live in.
Yeah, like Red, tell him how you got started in all this, man. Like
I started by finding Jeranism, and it was the worst day of my life.
He started this because all the flat earther documentaries say the same thing. They say, "Don't believe us. Don't trust us. Go out and do the experiments for yourself. Go out and do the experiments." And well, when someone like Red who knows math goes out and does these experiments, what happens?
Okay, I need you to play this video from a certain time code just so we can skip all the fluff.
Is it okay if I just made a comment before the video?
Sure, hang on, let me tell the time code. 5 minutes, 15 seconds, please.
Okay, hold on. I'm just putting a link to your channel in my description right now. Give me 1 sec.
All right. And once you have it up, let me know. But yes, go ahead with your comment.
Okay, so once again, can I call you Seth or Red? I'm not sure who you are. But Seth, is that?
Oh, Red. It doesn't matter.
Okay,
Red,
so Seth. Red. Okay, so Red. Once again, the point is not whether or not any refraction is happening. Nobody is saying no refraction is happening. There is refraction happening, but only the superior mirage, only the refraction that causes the superior mirage would lift up objects, right, behind the curve and present them as though there were no curve. Is that right?
That's what's happening here. It's the object, the image is being lifted.
So when you make the claim that there's refraction, because when I asked you for more specific scientific data, you said you don't need to produce that because you're making the claim that there's a refraction happening. That is a qualitative statement. So that is a qualitative statement. You need to quantify that qualitative statement, because merely saying that there's a refraction, no one is disputing that. There's no flat earther that would dispute that atmospheric refraction doesn't happen when light travels through the atmosphere. No, I'm not saying that. But we're saying that there's a particular kind of refraction that has to happen for objects that have been occluded or obfuscated by the curve to be presented as though it was a flat plane. So only the superior mirage, an inferior mirage would cause the exact opposite. In fact, it will accentuate the disappearance of the object. Because you know why? Because it's going to refract the light rays above your head, way above your head. So you're not even going to see it. So you have to establish that it is in fact the kind of refraction that supports the claim. It can't just be any refraction. You seem to be making the point that any refraction is happening. No one is. I
don't think he didn't just merely say it though. I don't think. I thought
that's just what he said. He said he doesn't need to provide the data that I challenge him to provide. That all he needs to show is that there's refraction happening in that image. Yes, I agree with him. I agree with Red.
Let's bring up the video then. We'll bring up the video of the experiment he did to show you.
Again, 5 minutes, 15 seconds. I'll show the data. Go ahead.
Okay. Where is it though? Oh, did you send it in the chat?
Internal chat. Okay. Internal chat. You want to go to 5 minutes, 15 seconds, and after we watch this video, I do want to respond because I don't know. I'm going to assume you didn't do this on purpose. I don't believe that you're dishonest, but I just want to say you kind of put words in my mouth, and I wish to clarify.
Yeah, after the video, you guys can chat for sure. Okay, I'm going to share it.
5 minutes, 15 seconds.
Yeah, it's on there.
All right, let's go ahead and watch.
Okay.
3D model of the entire Chicago skyline. It must have been one hell of a job. This is the angle at which your comparison picture was taken. Now you said this was the same as this. What would happen if we orientated our camera to be edge-on with the lake-facing side of the Willis Tower? Will we see the narrow part of the tower start way down here? Well, let's find out. Well, what do you know? It seems we have a match. But the match starts way up here, not way down there. So that would mean the narrow part of the tower, which takes up half of the total height in the image, is actually just this part. Nothing more, nothing less.
Go ahead and pause it right here. Okay, now I want you to take a look at the image that is on the left and compare it to the image that is on the right. Do you see how the image on the left has a stretched top section when compared to the other side?
Like the part just below it a little bit.
Yeah.
So
the whole
first off, the part of the image on the left in the circle is not the same part of the image circled on the right.
Yeah, it is.
It isn't. So,
No,
that's how I'm saying. So there's more.
Why isn't it?
On the left. So the circle on the left, the red circle on the left.
Yeah.
There's a portion of the building between the circle on the left and the water body, right? There's a portion of that building. You can see that the bottom of the circle on the left.
I'm only talking about. I'm only talking about the skinny side. You know that, right?
Hold on a second. Yeah, we will get to that point, but I want to address this point first. So, when you look at this red circle on the left, there's a portion of the building that is not shown. Well,
the water is covering it up.
There's more of the building on the left than is shown in the circle on the right, is what I'm saying.
That's what I'm getting at. What I'm getting at is,
go ahead.
What I'm getting at is that if you were to superimpose these two images together, you will see that the image on the left is stretched. Yet, despite that stretching, part of the tower is still covered by the curvature of the Earth. So in the image that flat earthers claim is impossible on a globe, you actually see the effects of the globe, even though there is atmospheric refraction helping the flat earthers' case. And being that there is stretching, we can also make a determination on what kind of atmospheric refraction is in this image. This is simply by doing a comparison with the actual geometry of the tower with what the image shows.
I fail to see the point that stretch infers necessarily a superior mirage. Is the point I'm making. And then that's just the first point. Second point I'm making is
go ahead and stop sharing.
Actually, we need to work with the exact numbers. That's kind of how I do my things here. We want to know precisely, at least approximately, I shouldn't say precisely, approximately how much of the building should be occluded by the curve.
You want me to
right? From that height of 200.
I already answered that question. It's about 946 feet.
Okay, so good. So can we go back to the image, please?
Oh, sorry. I thought someone said unshare it. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, so back to the point I was trying to make earlier. So from the bottom, from the bottom of that building circled in red all the way to the top, what is that distance? What's that height length?
I don't know the exact sections. I can find out for you. Hang on a second.
Okay. Because what I see is more than what's covered in the circle on the right. So
the reason why it looks like there's more is because there's stretching going on. The
stretching the stretching is not the scientific evidence for a superior mirage.
No, what it shows is that there is refraction in the image. If you compare an image that you take of the tower, and then you show the exact same tower, the exact geometry of it, and it does not match, the image that you took from 55 miles away is stretched, that means the atmosphere gave the effect of stretching the image.
Are you making that point?
Stretches the image is if there is refraction going on.
Are you making that point because anyone denies that refraction does not happen?
Wait, repeat the question.
Are you repeating the claim that the stretch means there's a refraction because anyone has denied? Is it because anyone has denied that refraction happens in the Earth's atmosphere?
Yeah, I just gave the name Jeranism.
No. Jeranism doesn't deny that refraction happens in the Earth's atmosphere.
Well, you're going to have to take that up because a video posted in 2016 that says otherwise, good sir.
Well, no. So this is what's happening. I've been trying to. I think I'll keep repeating myself, so maybe I'm clear enough.
Well, maybe we could bring up the video.
So what I'm saying is this. No one is saying refraction isn't happening. What we're saying is, in order for an object, so if the geometry of the Earth says that an object will be behind the curve, right? And you make the argument that refraction brings it up as though there were no curve. It has to be a superior mirage, right? It cannot be an inferior mirage. So you have to prove that the atmospheric circumstances, conditions, were such that created a superior mirage.
What kind
so
of?
No one is. I mean, if you keep claiming that there's a refraction, no one is arguing that there's no refraction happening. But it has to be the right kind of refraction to support the claim that an object that the Earth's geometry should have occluded doesn't get occluded.
Dude, you're not understanding what I'm saying. Maybe I'm not being clear. Allow me to repeat.
Okay.
What I'm saying is that when you look at this image, there is only one type of refraction that we know of that stretches buildings in the way that is seen in the image. That type of refraction brings objects up above the horizon and makes it so that you can see more of the object. That is what is definitively, objectively, and provably shown in this image by simply doing a comparison between one that isn't stretched to the image that clearly is stretched.
You just made an assertion. You just made an assertion without...
Sir,
okay, go ahead.
I did not interrupt you.
All right, sorry, my mistake. Yeah, go ahead.
So if you were to stack this isn't my claim, this isn't my opinion, this is an objective, testable, repeatable fact. Let me just highlight that. This is a fact that can be verified by you yourself right now. Take a screenshot, stack them on top of each other. You will see what I am showing. The only type of refraction that stretches images like that is the type of refraction that brings up objects so that you can see more of it, or even objects that should be behind the horizon, but you're still seeing it somewhat. So that is what is being shown in this image. Otherwise, you would have to explain to me what other type of refraction does that. There's only one that I know of. Do you know of any others?
So the burden of proof for that assertion that you've made lies on you, not on me. So if you make the assertion that the only refraction that stretches an object is the one caused by a superior mirage, then you have to use data, a model, or simulation to prove that claim, that assertion. You cannot throw that burden of proof to me. I didn't make the assertion. Can you see the point where I'm coming from? You just made an assertion that I need you to provide evidence to support.
No. See, here's the thing. You're saying that we don't know for a fact that this is the refraction that's going on. I'm saying that the amount of refraction or the type of refraction that we're seeing in the image indicates the type of refraction that it is.
How?
No, hang on, let me finish. So what I said was, if that is what you're saying, which means I'm not giving you the burden at all, it's your choice whether to accept it or not. If you're saying otherwise, and if you're making that assertion, and if you wish to take that on board, I would love to hear what other possibilities you have. If you do not have any other possibilities, then I will simply refer back to Occam's razor and follow that principle. It is not a fallacy, good sir, to follow Occam's razor to a T, especially when you are providing nothing to the contrary.
There's two issues here. One issue, are we in agreement that you've just made an assertion?
An assertion in what way? Because I made two.
Do I need to repeat the assertion that you just made you just made an assertion that the only refraction that stretches an object is the kind of diffraction that causes a superior mirage.
Incorrect. I said the only refraction that I know of that causes this effect is the type that causes a superior mirage. Now, if you're willing to educate me on a different possibility, I'm all ears. But if you do not have that other possibility, I will follow Occam's razor, and that will be perfectly legitimate, as it is not a fallacy to follow Occam's razor. Do you believe that it is a fallacy to follow Occam's razor?
You're making this discussion very difficult by rejecting my reputation of your. So you made an assertion. Just to be clear, I repeated that assertion. You said that's not it, but in the next few seconds, you repeat the same explanation that I gave. So what you just said that my explanation is putting words into your mouth, but then you repeated the same things that you said I'm putting words into your mouth. You're not making this discussion easy or useful. Look at it this way. So let me repeat myself.
How did he do that? What are you saying?
No. I just said something.
I got a good idea, you guys. Why don't we talk about something else, like the eclipse phases of the moon or something? How do you explain that on a flat Earth?
No. I didn't come here to discuss an eclipse. I came here to discuss the we see too far.
Well,
that is the reason why I joined this, because I understand how these debates. I understand how these debates go really.
Well, the thing was that Ed gave you a rebuttal, and he told you the reasoning behind why he was explaining what he was saying.
Yes.
No. So I just explained what he said. He said that my explanation is wrong, except that in the next second, he just said exactly what I said.
Oh, he showed you video proof. He told you about what he did and how it refracts.
Can I be clear?
Just hold on. Okay, if this is getting too contentious, let me just get to my next point. I just have 2 more points, and you can kick me out of this show if you want. But let me just make two more points.
No,
we're not trying to kick you.
No. So remember
what you're saying.
No, you're making this for fear of just going in a loop. I will just make a progress to other points that I want to make, because clearly, he's not just making this discussion like productive.
Well, I think what it is you just have differing opinions, and you don't want to accept the explanation that he gave. But if you would like to move on to a new point, then that'd be okay.
Yeah,
that characterization of my position is inaccurate, and I think it's even fraudulent.
Okay,
well, I'll be kind to say it's just inaccurate, maybe sincerely wrongly inaccurate, but at worst it's fraudulent. But in any case, I'll make my next point. Now, we are in agreement that objects that are distant get occluded bottom up, right? We can repeat that on a flat surface. So to claim that we have an agreement about that, I started that when I joined this show. That's the point I started with, and apparently Nick agreed with me, right? Or was it Nick? I think it was Seth, where we said that I can put an object on a flat table, I can put it on a flat road that is sufficiently level. I can go to a floor of a large warehouse. I mean, this is repeatable. When your observation angle is placed on the surface of a flat surface, right? You are going to see objects getting covered bottom up, right?
No.
So if you place a camera on a you haven't seen videos of this, or you haven't tried this yourself, when you place a camera on a road that is flat, sufficiently level and flat, and you see people at distant objects being covered bottom up. You haven't seen that?
You're never going to find a road that is sufficiently level. I'm from Florida, and our roads are as flat as they come, and even they're completely out of whack.
Okay, I'm willing. If we can exchange contact information after this, and I'll supply you with more than enough videos. Right? More than enough videos. Hold on. I will supply you with more than enough videos that show the objects on a flat surface get covered bottom up. That is exactly what you're seeing here. It isn't the Earth's. It isn't the geometry of the Earth covering the bottoms of those buildings that we're looking at.
Oh no!
It is the same phenomenon. For I said, for a lack of a better term, because mainstream physics doesn't discuss this. For lack of a better term, we call it compression, right? Where that's exactly the phenomenon happening here. You are seeing
you're making a claim.
You're seeing an object on a flat surface being covered bottom up. We can repeat this for all kinds of flat surfaces.
Let me ask a very simple question.
Okay.
Do parallel lines ever cross?
Theoretically, they can only meet at infinity. But theoretically,
no. I'm not asking for where they meet. I'm asking if they cross.
They cross at infinity. They cross at infinity. Parallel lines will cross at infinity. Theoretical geometry.
I'm not talking about theoretical. I'm talking about actuality. Do they ever cross? As in, does the bottom line ever become the top, and does the top ever become the bottom?
The top of what and the bottom of what?
If I have a stairway that's infinitely long, will the roof ever cross the floor, and will the floor ever cross the roof?
I sincerely do not understand the question you're asking. Of a building, the top of the you just said the top and bottom of what?
Oh, he's just asking you if parallel lines cross. They're straight lines, right? So they don't cross.
For finite distances, parallel lines never cross. But
they never cross.
When the distance is infinitely large, they cross.
That doesn't make sense.
That's mathematics. If you don't understand that, you don't understand that. But that's math. You can go verify that.
I guess I don't.
Yeah.
Dude, what mathematics say that parallel lines cross?
I guess I don't understand.
Go meet a differential geometry. If you don't understand this, it's a different matter. But parallel lines will cross at infinity. If the distance is infinitely large, this is theoretical geometry.
What you're describing is actually called trigonometry. And in trigonometry, we would expect that if we had two lines meeting at some point, that eventually they will cross over each other. You can download a program called GeoGebra Classic 5 that will illustrate this point for you. If I have 2 points or if I have two lines that are parallel, they will never cross. They will never touch. They will never do what you're describing objects going in the distance do. Basically, what am I
describing? Just to be clear, just to be sure that you're not misquoting.
You're what have I just described? Compression.
Yeah,
sorry,
let me
describing compression.
Okay,
Let me make sure that I'm clear. If we're looking at railroad tracks, railroad tracks going off into the distance, the left railroad track is never going to cross over to the right, and the right is never going to cross over to the left to the point where they switch.
At the vanishing point,
it might appear that way.
At the vanishing point, at the vanishing point of perspective vision, parallel lines meet.
Parallel lines will never cross is the question. They will never cross.
Crossing and meeting are synonyms here.
No, they're not.
No. So when you look at, let us take the railway line example you just gave, Seth or Red. Let's take the railway line example you gave, right? When you look at a railway line, if it is sufficiently long enough, they will apparently meet at the vanishing point of perspective vision. That is a fact.
Here's the thing. The perspective that you're talking about, which is again trigonometry, is alpha equals 2 times the arctan of g over 2r, where alpha is the angular size of the object, g is the actual size of the object, r is the distance to the object. I know this like the back of my hand. I've been arguing with flat earthers for 5 years about it. And
can you keep the discussion to the point I just made, please?
They do not cross. You can say that they appear to meet, but my question is, do they ever cross?
Now, before I answer that question, I would like to be clear what it is that you are saying about the top and the bottom of whatever it is that you're saying are meeting. I'm not sure I do understand that, because I'm not sure where you're going with this. I never said the compression example that I gave never said that the top of an object would meet with the bottom. This is what I said, that when you take an object on a flat surface and you continually increase the distance between an observer and the object's bottom disappears first.
No,
That
they
is
do
readable.
not.
I can give you. I can send you links after this discussion. I'm not doing this to win a debate. I'm doing this to educate. So I can send you videos where this phenomenon that I'm describing actually is observable. Right?
Hey,
I can show you that. There's more than enough. This is even. I'm surprised that you say you haven't experienced it in real life. I don't even need a video. I have experienced this in real life.
What's up, Brad?
Right?
Hang on 1 second. Let me go ahead and try this. Hey, would you be able to screen share an image for me, please? I'm going to send you a link.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. I'm sending you a link right now. Please, please share it or open it in a new tab.
Is it a YouTube video? Oh,
no, it's not a YouTube video. It's an image. Hang on 1 second.
This is your blink test.
Yeah.
No.
I just wanted to shout out and say thank you all for joining us. Whether you agree or disagree, that's completely fine. We're here to have an open discourse, and we do appreciate you guys taking time out of your day to join us.
All right, that's the image. I'm just going to ask a very simple question. We're going to forget the railroads. We're going to forget the hallway. We're going to forget all of that. I'm just going to ask a very simple question about this one image.
All right,
so please share the image if you can. So at the very edge of a bridge, there are these huts. These huts are for maintenance. So the question is there curvature in this image with the understanding that each one of those huts is the same height above the water?
They look like they're curving to me over the water. Wow. Don't flat earthers say that water never curves? That's crazy.
Go figure. But anyway, same question. Is there curvature in this image?
There appears to be a curvature, but that does not mean that there's a physical curvature.
No, there is, because all those huts, those service huts you see that are attached to the side of the bridge, they're all built at the same level.
Yes, same height above the water all the way through.
So, that proves that they're curving.
Yeah, but I wish to show something else.
I don't see how that proves a curve at all.
Hang on. Well, merely the fact that they're curving is one illustration, but there's also another thing. This bridge was 3D modeled with the quote assumed size of the Earth, and when they compared this image to
can you cite references for that claim?
Yes, I can, and I will.
Okay, please do.
But first, let me get all this out.
Okay.
So while this was modeled with the predicted size of the Earth, the curve of this bridge and those huts matched what was predicted. So let's say it was refraction or something like that. It's quite a coincidence that on a very clear day, we see a curve to this bridge that just so happens to match what we would expect to see on a curved Earth. Quite a coincidence, wouldn't you think?
I would think I need to see your references before I even engage you on that discussion. But in addition to that, what I just said, I have also seen an apparent curve like this demonstrated on a flat table. I can link you to videos about that as well.
Are you referring to Dr. Zach's video that was debunked back in 2019?
I think he is.
Maybe Dr. Zach, maybe somebody else. I don't remember sincerely from the top of my head, but I can find the videos. I can show you how this apparent curve was replicated on a flat table.
Are you talking
but
about
that's
the one with
beside,
like a flashlight and a table, and he has like a quarter or something, and he's like running the flashlight along the bottom?
Actually, I've seen multiple videos, not just one. I've seen multiple videos, not just one.
Would you like to bring up one of those videos?
I don't remember them from the top of my head, but I can always go find them and link you up with them. But I have seen a demonstration of this apparent. I'm calling it an apparent curve.
Hang on, I'm answering the second part of your question.
Okay.
If you can please screen share that link, you're going to have to click on it and you're going to have to drag about halfway down in the image or halfway down on the website. My apologies.
What, this one that we're looking at?
The Metabunk one.
Okay, hold on.
It's on the internal chat.
Yeah. Oh,
all right.
Okay.
Yeah. Click that, and you're gonna have to drag down. Now, when you drag down,
I see
you're gonna keep going about halfway, and you'll see power lines that run along the Lake Pontchartrain.
Yeah, I see it. Yeah, I'll bring it up here.
Now, if you go ahead and go down, it's a post by Minnow Ree. You'll actually be able to see that he modeled this. He modeled what was shown in the image. Then he superimposed the image with the prediction, and they matched perfectly.
Classic experiment to demonstrate the curvature of a body of water is to place markers like flags fixed distance above the water in a straight line, and then view them along the line in a telescope. If the water surface is flat, then the markers will appear also in a straight line. If the surface of the water is curved, as it is here on Earth, then the markers in the middle will appear higher. Then
Scroll down
at the
more,
end.
like a lot. You need to go halfway down the page.
Oh,
you may want to grab the slider on the side and just drag it halfway down.
Yeah, I don't see it. I'm watching on like a 55-inch screen, and my slider's like not there.
Oh, okay. Then just keep scrolling down. It goes into details about compressed.
Hey, what about this one with the car and the things on the car? That was a good point. Remember?
Yeah, that was compressed perspective, but no one made that point in this call, so we'll skip it for now. So just keep scrolling down. Keep scrolling down. You gotta scroll down a lot, like a lot.
All right.
Like a lot. All right, and okay, scroll up.
He said too much.
Okay, all right. No, go down, just below that image, There, right there. Okay, so this guy is a guy that also modeled it. He modeled what the round Earth model would show using the accepted size for the radius of the Earth and what the flat Earth model would show. And if you look at what the spherical Earth model shows, it matches what we are actually seeing in the image. Scroll down a little bit more. Keep scrolling down, keep going. Right there. Here is another guy that did it, Minnow Ree. Minnow Ree actually had a conversation with us on Soundly's YouTube channel, and he actually did this live. He built a model with these power lines that run along Lake Pontchartrain, or the Lake Pontchartrain Causeway, I should say. And when they were superimposed on top of each other, they matched perfectly. Scroll down a bit. They matched perfectly. Now look what happens when you scroll down. Keep scrolling down. It again.
These are all different people doing the same experiments and getting the same conclusions.
Yeah. Now there, right there. See how he laid the image that was taken in reality over the image that he made in the model? Yeah. They matched perfectly. So either there is one hell of a coincidence going on, or the Earth is round and the geometry is revealing itself through its images.
How are these people still denying this in the chat?
Dude? Do you know that a model that doesn't model reality is not does not have a high fidelity? So reality tells us that compression happens.
Come on, man.
Are you saying that schematics are?
Did you watch any of this at all?
Reality.
A model. I don't see. I don't see.
You understand that everything that was ever built was done on a model or a type of schematic before, right?
A model is useful only when it's able to make predictions. On the round Earth model, we can make predictions. We predict that the power lines would look a certain way. They do. On the round Earth model, we predict that an equatorial telescope mount would be able to track objects in the sky while rotating only one axis. They do. Our model is able to make predictions. In fact, flat earthers use the round Earth model to make predictions to try and shoehorn the flat Earth model to work.
You know, so these guys in the sorry to cut you off, but these guys in the chat keep saying this proves nothing. This proves nothing. Like, where is all your guys' proof and evidence? Because I haven't seen any flat earther show or supply any evidence or experiments as of yet, and we've been streaming for over 2 hours. So. You just screaming flat in capital letters in the chat doesn't really prove anything at all.
All right, I'm gonna And I also want to bring up something else. I do want to bring up one more point, and then I promise I'll shut up. I just sent you the video of my Tampa Bay skyline because it actually meets up with what I'm showing with the Lake Pontchartrain, because I live in Florida on Tampa Bay. I went to the north side of the Skyway Bridge. Bring up my Tampa Bay blink test observation, and I would like for you to fast forward to 2 minutes and 5 seconds.
I show this video lots to people on my channel whenever the flat Earth comes up.
Yeah, but go to 2 minutes, 5 seconds and just pause it right there.
Okay. 2 minutes and 5 seconds.
Correct. Okay, now full screen that. Okay, now one thing that I was told is compression. Okay, the fact is that the limiting factor with the law of perspective is the available resolution. However, with zoom, we can increase the available resolution by increasing the size of the image on the camera sensor itself. So we have more than enough resolution to work with, where we should be able to see the towers in full. Now notice this, there is no distortion to these towers as far as size goes, and I will demonstrate that in a moment. There is no distortion. Yet, despite that, we are still missing a good, 290, 300 feet of these towers. If you can please play the video so that it can blink between the two images. You might want to hit
mute.
Okay, now watch as I blink between these two images. Sir, I'm going to let you be the judge here, Nick. So as I'm blinking between the two images, can you see how they are the same size dimensionally?
Yeah. The buildings are they're the same size. They're the same size for sure.
Yeah, dimensionally. So basically, we're not dealing with an image that is squished. There is no squishing going on. So with no squish, that means that we have enough resolution to where we should be able to see the towers in full. But resolution is not the issue here.
What is this building that comes up here, Ed? In the middle of these two. Right there. That one.
Yeah, you want to know what that is? You want to know what that is? You're going to freak out because this is my second point. You just brought it up. Can you freeze it at 45 seconds?
All right.
Freeze at 45 seconds. Do you see that line of sight?
Yeah, the yellow one, yeah.
Yeah. Now move your cursor to the top.
Okay.
That's where the tower is. Do you see that entire island or that peninsula that is extruding out?
That building that I'm seeing is right
on
back there.
that. So not only is there a missing tower, there is an entire peninsula missing from view.
Wow. You're way over here.
Whoa. Yep. And that's where I was stationed. So as you can see, I'm skating by. Now go to move your cursor down a bit to where I'm just touching the island or the peninsula on the bottom. Move it down. Follow the line down. Follow the line down.
Right here.
Keep going. A little bit more. Keep going. Right there. You see how it kisses it right there? It kisses that land.
Oh yeah, right here, yeah.
Now go back to the image that I took. Fast forward a bit to like a minute something. Okay, you see that boat that's on the side?
This one.
That is on that peninsula. That's where I'm kissing the shore.
Cool,
you see that?
Yeah, that's cool.
It is cool. So basically, there is no compression going on with these towers. I should be able to see the towers in full, but not only do I not see the towers in full, I don't even see MacDill Air Force Base that is on a peninsula between me and the towers. Geometry is cool, isn't it?
It's almost like there's a big curve of something in the way, blocking the view.
Mm-hmm. Or there's compression preventing you from seeing the parts that have been hidden.
Why aren't the towers compressed?
Because they're taller, much taller. So the way compression works, is not that the parts of the the taller object that you can see will be distorted. No, the way compression works is the part that you don't see bottom up have been occluded. That is the way compression works. So you would be putting words. So you would be putting words into the mouths of people by saying the compression. That when we say compression would mean that the parts that are visible have to be distorted. No one makes that claim.
You're the one that's saying compression. Compression.
So when I said compression, I didn't say distortion.
Compression means compression is a synonym for squish. The towers do not have their proportions exaggerated in any way, shape, or form.
You remember when I explained that I lack a better term? So this is what compression means. Compression doesn't mean geometric distortion. No.
Then what kind of compression are you talking about if not geometric distortion?
So let me explain. Will you let me explain? So it doesn't mean that the object has been distorted. What it means is that because there's fewer rays from basically the fewer rays coming from the parts that have been compressed or occluded reaching your eyes. It is the rays that have been compressed as they enter your eye or the optical viewing instrument, right? That's where the compression term comes from. I'm sure a better term could be come up with, but it does not mean that the object being observed. It doesn't mean that the object being observed is distorted. No.
Are we talking about compression via perspective?
Like I said, it is similar. It's related to perspective. It is not the same thing as perspective.
And what is it?
That's how I started.
Nikon P1000 or the P900 did you use?
The light from the bottom of that object is occupying a smaller and smaller angle as it enters either your eye or an optical viewing instrument. So the compression is of the rays entering the aperture. It isn't a geometric compression of the object being observed.
How far away were you from this when you
24 miles.
24 miles. Yeah, people in the chat are like, why didn't you zoom in? I'm pretty sure he was zoomed in.
Hey, can you do me a favor? Can you do me a favor real quick? Can you please freeze frame it at 29 seconds?
Yeah,
29 seconds. That is a P1000 cranked to zoom. You want to make the claim that I wasn't zoomed in enough? Look at that thing. That thing is monstrous.
No optical instrument has an arbitrarily high zoom-in power. Every optical instrument has a finitely large zoom-in power.
Yeah.
So the fact that you're using an extraordinarily powerful optical viewing device doesn't mean it is exempt from problems of distant viewing.
Yeah, but let's watch this again, bro.
Resolution.
Hang on. Before I play it again, I need you to show one more thing. Pause it at 56 seconds, please. That is the image in the viewfinder. So not only do I have the image, I have an image of myself taking the image.
Don't you actually show yourself zooming in too?
It's like I have a video of this.
This does not prove that compression doesn't happen.
Hang on.
Don't you show yourself zooming in? I thought you showed yourself zoom in on it from here.
There's a video that's unlisted, but before you play it, let me just respond to what he said. But leave it on this image, please.
Yeah.
Just leave it on this image. All right. You're talking about compression. The only type of compression that would exist is by two factors, either via the law of perspective or by something to do with the atmosphere. Because anything that causes the towers to squish, distort, or even go missing has to do with external factors like the law of perspective. There's nothing wrong with my optical train. So the optical train being in question is out. Now, if that's not what you're saying, let's look at the law of perspective. The law of perspective does not state that an object will disappear arbitrarily bottom up and then eventually out of sight. What it speaks to is the amount or the available resolution that is available to make up the image. Because we are magnifying the image where our resolution is not a problem, I should be able to see the towers in full. I do not. Third,
Once again, you made an assertion. Sorry. You have just made another. I'm just noting that you've made an assertion. We'll come back to that.
Yeah, we'll come back to that parallel lines do not cross by definition. I will be more than happy.
No. You just made an assertion now that because you zoom.
You have to let me finish. So when it comes to number 3, the only other option would be something to do with the atmosphere. And this is why the blink test is so important. This is why I asked Dave or whatever his name is to confirm that the proportions of the tower were exactly the same, which means that any distortion would easily be observable. Any stretching or collapsing or squishing or twisting, whatever you want, would instantly be recognizable. But when we compare the uncompromised image to the image I took from over 24 miles away, the proportions match perfectly. So therefore, the atmosphere is not helping you. The law of perspective doesn't help you. My optical train is just fine. This is the flat earther camera of choice after all. Therefore, we're only left with one other option to the best of my knowledge, which is the geometry of our planet. Considering that there is a giant hump of water not just blocking the bottom of those towers, but an entire peninsula between me and it that has an Air Force base on it. So we have everything to show that, yeah, the geometry of our planet does take into account, and it does limit how much of an object you can see, given the fact that we have more than enough resolution where we should be able to make out the object in full. This is what happens when you go out and you do the observations. And this is what happens when you've been a guy like me who's been arguing perspective for 5 years. Anyway, now you can go.
Okay. So now, let me just comment. So your claim is because you've zoomed this device to its maximum zooming capacity, and therefore
ability,
and therefore the device should be able to capture. She should not experience the incapacity to capture the bottoms covered. That's the claim you're making. Correct me if I'm wrong. I need to be sure that.
You want me to confirm something, or are you asking a rhetorical question?
Well, I'd like to confirm something, just so that I don't get you wrong.
Okay, that's fair. What I'm saying is that we have more than enough resolution to work with the optical train of the camera, where we should be able to see the towers in full. This is demonstrated by the towers that we can see. Or the part of the towers that we can see. We clearly have enough optical resolution to work with where we should be able to see the object in full, yet we don't.
So in other words, this is what you're saying, that because you're using a powerful camera being exercised to its maximum zooming capacity, therefore the phenomenon of objects disappearing bottom up would not be observed. Because you have used a powerful camera?
On a flat
what you're
Earth.
Saying.
On a curved Earth, this is exactly what we would see.
Okay, so in other words, if I showed you how I exercised a powerful camera with its maximum zooming capacity on a flat surface, and yet I observed the bottom of an object being covered, that would mean that flat surface is curved too, right? By your logic. But that's your logic. Your logic is, and that's why I said I needed that you confirm that I'm getting you right. So you are saying that you have used a powerful camera and you've used its maximum capacity, and therefore we should not be able to see anything being covered bottom up. So I'm reversing that scenario. I'm saying.
You can reverse, but I did not answer your question fully because you completely steamrolled over me. I'm not saying that if you have a.
What I'm saying is I can repeat what you've done on a flat surface. Does that mean it's curved?
If you will let me
just
finish.
Answer the question. You are not helping this because I want us to be very specific on this point.
If you want to be very specific,
what you've just done on a flat surface.
If I repeat
what you have done on a flat surface, is that surface curved?
If you are aiming for clarification, then you should let me clarify.
Just answer my question, then you will clarify. It's a simple question.
No, because I'm not going to give you a black and white answer.
And I'm not asking for a black and white answer. I'm just saying that if I replicate what you've just done on a flat surface, and we obviously see the bottoms of an object being occluded, that means by your logic, it has to be a curve.
Lines do not cross by definition. I will answer your question, but I will answer it only in the way that I wish to answer it, because that's the only way I can guarantee that I'm not going to be strawman later. If you were to show me an object disappearing on a perfectly flat surface, bottom up and then eventually out of sight, then yes, I would.
Let's not add out of sight. No, let us not add out of sight. Let us just say, I can show you on a flat surface how objects disappear bottom up. Would that make that flat surface curved?
Can you guarantee me 60 seconds of uninterrupted speech? 60 seconds is all I need.
It is hard to do that when you're not. It is hard to do. I can do that.
No. Here's the thing.
Hold on. Can I just both of you off real quick? Nick, do you think maybe we could start a timer? Some of the people in the chat are saying that both parties aren't getting adequate time to explain their positions.
Of course.
Are you guys okay with that?
Yeah, depends at how long Red wants to keep going for. I got
maybe like a 2-minute timer or something, so you guys can get enough time to explain.
Can you set it up?
Yeah, I'll set it up. I only got about another half hour, so if you guys are cool with that, I'll set the timer up right now.
Yes, please do. Please do.
Okay,
also,
we'll start with you.
The video.
Yeah, we'll start with you, Red, real quick, and when Nick gives you the go ahead, you can go ahead and talk for 2 minutes and rebut.
You guys only want 2 minutes? How about 3?
You know, whatever. I'll take the charity.
Okay, 3 minutes. That's good. 3 minutes. All right. So as soon as you start talking, Red, I will.
Count me down.
Okay, hold on a sec.
Okay, I'm waiting for you.
This is weird, bro.
Yeah, no, everyone in the chat, we do appreciate whether you guys have different opinions or not. Thank you for joining us.
Okay. For those of you wondering, this is a video of me doing an observation of the International Space Station transiting the moon.
Okay. So
all right, Red, as soon as you start talking, Red, I'll start your time.
All right, I'm going to go right now.
Okay.
If you were to show me and prove to me that a table was perfectly flat and you saw an object disappear bottom up on that perfectly flat surface, then yes, I would accept that objects can disappear bottom up on a flat surface. However, I would also want to replicate it myself, where I would also try to find a perfectly flat surface to the best of my ability and see if I can replicate that result. However, what I've seen is that the objects or the videos that have been presented were not actually on perfectly flat surfaces, and sometimes the camera was off the edge of the table below it, so no duh, things would disappear. You're using the edge of the table, not the surface of the table, to block the object. I am under the understanding and the acceptance that parallel lines do not intersect by definition. What you would be trying to demonstrate is geometrically impossible. So I will say that what you're going to attempt to show probably has some flaws in it. In fact, if you send me these videos, I will get back to you with a thorough debunk of every single one of them, I guarantee. But if what you showed was actually convincing, then I will, of course, come out and say, congratulations, everyone, you convinced me. Objects can disappear bottom up and then eventually out of sight, as they do in reality, on a flat surface because magic. I relinquish the rest of my time.
Okay, go ahead. As soon as you start talking there, I forgot how to say your name again, but just start talking. I'll start your timer.
Yeah, go ahead, Nian.
Thank you very much, Reds. I'll definitely be sending those videos to you, and I hope that you will be honest enough if you see those videos and you see that they're cleanly taken and all your reservations have been met, that you would in fact admit this. I'm happy that you have made you publicly said that If the video meets certain reservations that you have, you would acknowledge. I like that spirit. Thank you. Because that's what's happening for some of the all of these long distance observations that we have, right? I mean, another instance is when they tell us that the evidence for the curved globe is ships disappear bottom up first. That's the claim we're told, except that when it disappears to an optical instrument like your eye, the angular resolution power of your eye is a lot less. When you bring in an instrument like the P900 or P1000, you bring it back, the entire thing back into view, right? That is because the angular resolution of the camera is a lot better, a lot greater than that of the human eye. So right away that just throws the proof of a curved Earth away, because if it was the curve of the Earth, right, when you were viewing with your eye, that blocked the ship bottom up, right, then no optical device should bring it back, because it's beyond the curve, right? It's beyond a rigid, solid boundary. So the mere fact that you use an instrument with a higher resolution power that brings it back into full view shows that it wasn't a curve that occluded the ship bottom up. It was the simple optical scenario or property of objects disappearing bottom up as the distance between an observer and the object increases. I'm glad that you've made that public admission. I will be sending videos your way, and I'll be hoping to see your response to those. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Let me know when I'm clear.
You're clear to go, man.
Thank you very much. Okay, I've heard this claim before that if you have an object that has disappeared bottom up, like let's say a ship, that you can just use a more powerful zoom camera and bring it back. We were actually able to bring the ship back into view with a less powerful zoom. There is a drone called the Walkera 4. Sean Hufford owns one and was actually with me when I was doing the observation of Tampa. We were looking at a ship that had disappeared. On the Walkera, there is about a 19 times zoom camera, and this is, by the way, posted on Sean Hufford's channel. I was unable to bring that ship back into view, even though I went from a Nikon P900 to a Nikon P1000 that went from 80 to 120-something times zoom. I was unable to bring that ship back. It stayed behind the curve. But yet, I was able to bring the ship back by gaining altitude and seeing over the curve of the Earth. Even though it had a less powerful zoom, I saw the ship in full. This shows that's not the zoom that is the limiting factor. It is the geometry of our planet that is a limiting factor. Not just that, but I also want to repeat that everything that we have shown with the Lake Pontchartrain Causeway, the Lake Pontchartrain power lines, and the Tampa Bay skyline all comport perfectly to what is predicted on the round Earth model, as is the fact that equatorial telescope mounts can work, and the fact that all navigation with aircraft pilots is based on a globe. The power of a model is that which can make accurate, reliable predictions. We have used the round Earth model to make small predictions, like how much of the tower should we see, or how much curves should we see with a bridge, to big predictions like how do I make a flight path and make sure I don't end up in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean when I'm flying to Miami. All navigation is based on a globe. Just ask any sailor how a sextant works. Ask any pilot who is actually worth a damn how they make flight plans. Ask anyone who has modeled the sphere of our Earth whether or not observations with these long distance shots match what they predicted. So not only will we have to show that a flat surface can make object disappear, I'm not convinced that they can because parallel lines do not intersect by definition. But yes, I am willing to be proved wrong. You have a very heavy burden, but if you wish to send me what you have, my Twitter is Red's Rhetoric, at Red's Rhetoric on Twitter, and I'll post it here momentarily. Thank you.
Cool, thank you. And before I start your time, Niang, I just wanted to ask Red, do you know who this FE Viking guy is? He keeps calling you out in the chat saying that you and Sean Hufford are like con men and you like are proven liars on his channel or something. Do you know what he's talking about?
I have never heard of him in my life. But
this guy right here, FE Viking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So let me go ahead and just before you start his time, I'm going to copy and paste my Twitter handle so that what he can do when he's ready or prepared or whatever is he can find me on Twitter and send me what he has. I am copying and pasting it into the internal right now.
Okay. And all you guys asking these questions, you all had the chance to come on here and ask Red directly.
Yeah, I've said multiple times in the chat, you guys can go ahead and send an email to Nick if you'd like to come on to the panel and, you know, give your points of proof or whatever it is.
Instead of just saying liar over and over and like flat over and over, or Red's a liar over and over, like, why don't you come on and like tell us why he's a liar or show us, you know what I mean? Like, we're just trying to have a conversation here.
And also, just to be clear, it's almost midnight here, so I'll stay on for a little bit longer. But if you guys want to ask me anything, hop in the call now.
Okay, well, yeah, I only got like another 15, 20 minutes. So if anyone else does want to come on and ask, I'll put my email back on the screen. I'm talking to you, the living soil. All right, I will. Well,
they're saying they don't have your email. He's put it up multiple times.
I'll put it up right now.
Yeah, you guys can go ahead and check that out again.
Yeah, I'll say 15 more minutes because it's midnight and I would kind of like to go to bed. I got work tomorrow.
Yeah. Thank you for coming and hanging out for so long, Red. 15 minutes sounds perfect to me. So there's my email on the screen there, guys. Send me an email. I'll give you a link to the show. If you got questions, you want to come on and ask them, you guys 15 minutes before we're shutting down. I'll start your time, I guess, for 3 minutes until any of the emails come in there. Niang, here, whenever you start talking.
Okay, so a couple of points. One is Red hasn't addressed the information I provided, right? A human eye sees a sheep that goes away from the human observer disappear bottom up. We are told that is evidence that the curve of the earth was the thing that blocked the boat bottom up. Now, you would imagine that if that is true, that even if I used an object with a higher angular resolution, I would not be able to see that object again. Why? Because it has gone beyond a physical barrier. An opaque physical barrier has occluded the object. Now that is the globe Earth claim. No instrument of whatever capacity, greater or smaller, and let us not bring another variable of increasing the height. No, let's remain at the same viewing height, right? We're at one viewing height. The object disappears because a physical barrier obstructed it. But then we bring in a more powerful instrument, and then we see it again. There is no doubt that it wasn't a barrier that occluded the object. That the object disappeared bottom up because of this compression, for lack of a better term, phenomenon, causing it to disappear bottom up. And then, of course, perspective vision, making it disappear completely. Now, second point that I want to make is the proponents of the heliocentric theory and the globe Earth theory claim that they like boasting that their model predicts accurately. I want to see the accurate prediction of the heliocentric model that claims that the Earth is in two kinds of motion: rotation about an axis and revolution around the sun. There is no scientific experiment that has confirmed this prediction. Whether it's a Michelson-Morley experiment, whether it's a Sagnac experiment, the Michelson-Gale experiment, no experiment has shown that when we take a frame of reference centered at the sun, that there's an Earth curvilinear motion with respect to that frame of reference. Secondly, there is no scientific evidence that shows that when we take a frame of reference fixed at the axis of so-called rotation of the Earth, that is a 24-hour, one revolution per 24-hour revolution. No evidence whatsoever.
All right, that's 3 minutes. Let me know when I'm free.
Okay. You're free. As soon as you start talking, go ahead, bro.
Okay. I actually did address the eye thing. The reason why I brought the drone into the conversation is that I wanted to show that an object or a piece of equipment with less zoom was able to see the ship in full, even though the more powerful optical piece of equipment wasn't able to. This shows that there is a geometric factor to what we can and cannot see. So yes, I did address it. I'm not going to ignore the height part of it. That was part of my explanation. That's why I went into detail about it. As far as the rotation of the Earth, it's irrelevant to the shape of the Earth. Take a ball, put it on the table. Is it moving? No. Has it stopped being a ball? No. Then why is this a point? You can argue that the Earth is motionless or whatever. I'm arguing simply for the shape of the Earth, not its position or even its motion within the solar system. However, if you are curious about that, look up Bob Nodell. He confirmed that the Earth rotated quite beautifully with a $20,000 gyro, and then tried to get a physical gyro taken off of YouTube after it also confirmed that there was a rotation to the Earth. Another thing that we can show that the shape of the Earth is also the equatorial telescope mount. We can also make predictions, just like I said previously, which confirm what we've been saying the entire time. The reason why we bring up models is because we want to show that our map of reality is as accurate as possible. We want to get the number of mistakes our model gets to a level as close to zero as possible. The flat Earth model has not gotten anywhere near good enough to be able to make predictions. However, the globe model, when it comes to navigation, especially navigation, it has worked perfectly. Via the globe Earth model, you can plan a flight to fly a certain distance, turn 90, turn 90 again, turn 90 again, and reach back where you were. You can actually do that with 3 90-degree angles on a flight path, straight lines, but 3 90-degree angles, and you will meet up again, right back where you started. And if people would like to challenge me on that, I have an offer for them. I know a guy called Wolfie who is willing to pay for your flight, where he will teach you how to actually make a flight plan, and you will actually fly that flight plan. He will pay for your flight, your hotel, and your lessons. And by the end of it, you will not be a flat earther. You will be a globe earther every step of the way, because it's the only one that works to plan flights.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, the Living Soil is saying that he sent you an email.
Oh, okay. David Baker.
Can I quickly respond, please? I just have 1 or 2 points to make in response.
Yeah, hold on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got like 5 minutes, so.
Okay.
So this
Okay,
is going to be the last.
You can respond. I did send a link to David if he wants to come in and quickly ask a question, but we got to go soon. So
I would like to give him the last word. So
there's a reason Red said he didn't understand why I introduced the idea of the rotation. I didn't do that arbitrarily, and I explained why I did that. I introduced that concept to demonstrate that the arrogant claim, the boastful claim of the heliocentric model that it has the power of prediction is patently false, because it does not. Its prediction of rotation has never been observed experimentally. I understand the utility of models. I understand the usefulness of a simulation. However, when your model prediction fails, when experimental data fails to confirm your model prediction of rotation about an axis, where is the arrogance? Where is the boastfulness for the veracity or utility of that model? That is the reason why I brought that. I didn't bring that in. I'm not stupid to bring an example of rotation to support an argument for curvature. I wasn't doing that. I was only doing that to show that the claim that that model has predictive power is false. If it is accurate, then let them produce the experimental data that supports its prediction of rotation about an axis and a revolution around the sun. That data is absent in decades of maybe centuries of physics research and study. Back to the claim that he said he has addressed the issue. No, he hasn't. I see an object. I'm told that maybe I shouldn't use the Earth curvature. Maybe I should use the corner of a building. So I'm looking at an object that goes beyond the corner of a building. I'm told you can't see that object because that wall, that corner of the building blocked it from your view. Except that I use a more powerful instrument and I still see the object. Did the light rays bend around the corner, make a 90-degree curve around the corner in order for me to see it again? I mean, this is not a controvertible point. If the claim is that the Earth's curvature occluded the object, there remains no claim to be made in support of a curvature if a more powerful instrument brings it back into view. And based on that, there's multiple other, again, maybe later on I can send videos, many videos that show this, right? We're seeing things too far. We're seeing things that are beyond the so-called curvature.
All right, I guess I will actually respond. My apologies. But this is going to be my last response, but I do want to give you the last word. Okay. I just posted a link in the internal chat. That is a link to a playlist called Testing Geocentrism. There are 11 parts in this series. 11 parts. This series is filled with the experimental data that you say does not exist. It does. We know for a fact that our model can make predictions. We know for a fact that our model comports with reality. We know for a fact that we were able to get this good of a model by doing the experiments, the observations, the measurements that you say that we haven't done. You said that there's no measurement to the rotation of the Earth, but did I not just point you to Bob Nodell, who confirmed that there was a rotation of 15 degrees per hour by turning on a $20,000 gyro, and that someone was able to replicate that result with a physical gyro, and that they hated it so much that they tried to get it banned off of YouTube? I can show you that as well. But to just talk about the geocentrism and flat Earth and the models and things like that, there is a standing challenge between Astronomy Live and other people. What he will do is he will use the heliocentric round Earth model, the accepted model, to make a celestial prediction in regards to our planets. It will be at a random date, and it will be at a random time to both of you. The reason is because it will be determined via a random generator. You make the predictions using your flat Earth model or your flat Earth approach, and he will make his predictions using the accepted round Earth model and the heliocentric approach. And basically the winner is whoever was right when the celestial event happens. This is an open challenge that has not been met in the 4 years that it's been going on. So if you know of any flat Earth astronomer that is willing to put up or shut up, we are willing to show that not only can we make predictions, but we can do it using the equipment necessary that you said that we would not be using to confirm that the model is accurate. And like I said, I recommend that for tonight, you binge watch that playlist because it goes into detail the history, how we've advanced, what conclusions we've come to, the measurements that have been taken. All of that goes into that playlist. There's 11 parts to that, including measuring the distance to the sun in a way that you can do yourself with access to a few telescopes and maybe a few friends. With that, I'm going to say that is the end of my time. I am going to take this moment a little bit extra to say thank you for talking to me. Thank you for not running away. I hope you don't or not run away. I hope you don't walk away thinking that I hate you or that I wish you any ill will. I think that as of right now, you're a decent guy, and I want to thank you for having a conversation with me. I do appreciate it legitimately. I'm not being sarcastic when I say that. I'm seriously, thank you for, at the very least, having a conversation with me.
You're welcome. The pleasure is mine. I know you're going, but I really need to address a few points that you made. Even if you're going, I think you can still watch this video later. I hope it's okay because he had the first say in this exchange. So
yeah, that's okay. I'm just going to say bye to him, and you can talk. So, Red, thank you.
That's fine.
Okay. Thank you so much for coming on and giving us your time and trying to teach us about the shape of the Earth. I really appreciate that. I didn't know that you guys had some beef with Dave and stuff. So, like, I'm sorry for getting that all fired up. But, yeah.
It's fine. It's whatever. I'm going to stay in the call until he has the final say, and then I'll leave. But, yes, you can have the final say. But, once again, thank you for having this conversation with me. I actually do appreciate it, and I wish you nothing but the best in the future. Hit me up on Twitter at RedsRhetoric if you wish to send me anything.
Okay, thanks a lot, bro. Appreciate you coming.
Go ahead. It's all you.
So can I go ahead?
Yes, please.
Okay, good. So a model that boasts that it is accurate and yet fails in one aspect that I dare say is the most important prediction, not just a trivial. I mean, some models make, a few deviations from experimental data. That happens, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a major failure. So they claim it predicts eclipses. That claim is wrong. A Soros cycle is being used to predict eclipses, not the heliocentric model. They claim it predicts whatever. I'm not even going to go into that. My point is this. The one important prediction of the heliocentric model and the globe Earth model is that it rotates and that it makes a revolution around the sun. I mean, I think it's an objective fact that is one of the most important, if not the most important predictions of that model. I dare anyone provide the evidence obtained from experiments that concur with that prediction. There's none. So you can claim that you have data that supports that predictions of that model in other cases. I'm not going to talk about those. I don't talk about things I don't know. What I do know is that its prediction of rotation and revolution around the sun, no experimental data to support that, right? And I stand to be corrected. If I'm wrong, bring the evidence. Whether it's Reds or whatever professor from any physics university, bring the evidence from a scientific experiment that shows us that the Earth is indeed rotating. He keeps quoting Bob Noodle. He's either doing that deliberately, maliciously, or sincerely wrongly. And this is why I say that. Countless times, Bob has explained data about that experiment that shows that it cannot be the Earth rotating, but something else causing that observed rotational data. If whoever keeps attributing this to Bob should go back and see Bob saying that I don't have enough time here to go into all that details, and I don't even have firsthand knowledge of that data, so that's why I'm referring to Bob himself. So you don't just idly say that Bob has proven this when the same Bob himself has said his data shows otherwise. You cannot tell a scientist conducts an experiment and he interprets the data, and then you are telling him that both his data and his interpretation of his data is different than what he's saying. It is disingenuous. Or maybe somebody is sincerely wrong. Maybe they're not privy to the information that Bob has produced. I'm willing to allow that as a possibility. Maybe Red says that, and I haven't just heard it from him. I've heard it from many other people. You don't say that Einstein, for example, as a scientist, you don't say Einstein conducted an experiment and he said, this is the data that I got, and this is my interpretation of my data, and this is the conclusions that I've drawn. You do not go and produce a different interpretation, a different data, or a different conclusion, and then attribute it to Einstein or whoever that scientist is. That is what they're doing to Bob right now. Because if the guy himself has said that his data and his interpretation and understanding of the data shows that it's something else causing that 15-degree rotation, why keep saying that he's the one? And by the way, if Bob truly proved that, do you know that he will be a Nobel Prize winner right now? He would be a Nobel Prize winner because there's no experiment in physics that shows us that the Earth is rotating. And all of a sudden, Bob has done that. Why isn't he the most famous physicist? Why haven't universities around the world created a professor chair for him in astronomy or relativity or whatever? It is disingenuous or sincerely wrong to keep perpetrating that and perpetuating also that myth. It is a myth. That's all I have to say. There's no evidence for that prediction. And please don't keep saying Bob did that. That is just false. It is provably, if you have the patience to go through the data, it is provably a false statement.
All right. And with that, I'm going to head out. I do appreciate the conversation. Hit me up. You do have my Twitter. So when you have the items that you wanted to send me, just hit me up on Twitter, and then I'll take a look at what you got. Sound like a plan?
I will do that. Thank you very much.
All right, guys. Have a good night. Peace.
Yeah. So thank you for coming, Nian. Sorry for mispronouncing your name, but I got to get going. So thank you very much. You're welcome to come back anytime. We don't do Flat Earth that often, but I was thinking about dedicating a day a week to it. I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe you can. Maybe when we figure out a scheduled date, right? When Nick, you pick a date, you can bring up some of your evidence or whatever, and maybe send it to us, and we'll screen share it, or you can screen share it yourself. We'd love to have you back on so you could talk more about that.
I did send an apology to Dave there, and I had no idea that him and Red had some ancient beef going on, regardless of what people in the audience want to think. Like, so whatever. I screen shared myself emailing it. People were even saying, "Oh, you won't send him an apology," which I did because I screen shared it. So hopefully he'll come back on and we can talk to him more because, I had no idea that he was going to just run and leave so quick like that. So I was having a pretty decent chat with those guys before Red started talking about that video, and they just up and left. So
yeah.
But if he does come back on, I won't bring Red this time. We'll just have him back on. And I already sent him an email saying, "Look, I'm sorry. Like, I didn't know they had some big beef. Like, you know."
Yeah. Nian, some of the people are asking if you have a channel yourself, or if there's any way to maybe get some more information from you. Nian?
Sorry, FE Viking. Yeah, if you mean by I had Red on my side as like the, I'm a ball earther. What's that? Oh, you're breaking up a bit. Anyway, thanks for coming, bro. I gotta go. It's been great. You can come back anytime. God bless you, my friend. Okay, so FE Viking, I had him on my side, like as you mean, because I don't believe in a flat Earth. Yeah, I believe his math is sound, like because I've checked some of his calculations, not all of them, but his math is sound. I don't agree with his theology. He's an agnostic, which I don't agree with. But you can call me a pathetic liar all you want, but I don't know you. I don't care about you. I don't have any reason to lie to you. So like, if you don't want to believe me, that's fine. Like,
yeah, I mean, we've stated our position from the beginning of the show too. Like, okay, we believe in the Bible, we believe in God. Red does not, right? And that's fine. But the thing that we were bringing up was the shape of the Earth, and if there are proofs or not. And that's why Red was invited on to debate and to talk against, some of the things that David was going to say, and that's all it really was.
Yeah, like I've had like Damn Truth on here, like other flat earthers. Like we had fine conversations. Like we got along great. I don't hate flat earthers at all. So I mean, I will dedicate once a week to flat Earth. Dude, I didn't set anyone up. Have you ever been on StreamYard before? Red purposely chose the name Seth because he obviously knew that if those guys seen his name, we wouldn't even have had a show to begin with. So that's why he obviously did that. So I didn't know they had a beef. You don't have to believe me. I don't really care, but that's the truth. So whatever. Yeah, sure, Eric. You can come on for sure, bro. You can come on and discuss Genesis 1 anytime. So we'll set that show up anytime. You got my email. Why don't you take down my email, Eric, and maybe we'll set up a show. And we love talking about scripture and stuff like that. And
yeah, I just wanted to say too, like, people, you have to understand, if anything that you say is true, it will be okay, and it can be scrutinized because it's going to stand up to anything and everything people could throw against it, because that's what truth is. It's unbreakable and unmovable. You shouldn't have a problem with someone not believing what you believe or understanding what you understand and say, oh, well, I'm out of here. I'm not gonna do this. If you do have a valid point, then you can prove that. You have to have evidence to back that up.
Yeah, so anyway, thank you guys for being here. If you like the show, give it a like, subscribe. I mean, I'm not going to blame you if for most of the stuff you guys said you don't want to come back. That's fine. Just know that I don't have a problem with you guys. I know lots of people that believe in flat earth. That's why I was having this conversation with him, but I like doing it from both perspectives. Like I'm not hiding the fact that I'm not a flat earther. Like I believe the earth is round. So yeah. Anytime you guys want to come back and talk more about this, like that's cool. Like if someone else wants to come on, you don't want Red to be here, I won't bring him. I'd like to hear more.
And shine the light. Obviously, we do not believe in evolution. We don't believe in everything that's in the educational system. Just because there are lies in the educational system does not discredit the facts that are being presented to, like the math and the science behind it.
I feel bad now if everyone thinks I like set these guys up. Like it wasn't like an intentional thing. Like Seth, were we intentionally setting these guys up? Like, did I know that he had a beef with this guy? Like, you're my co-host. No,
it was just like this because look, we've shown some of Red stuff before, right?
Like I knew that they knew each other. Like Red knew him, they knew each other. But like I've only met Red like 3 times. I had no idea. I had no idea they had like some huge beef, right? Like I thought Red knew all the flat earthers. Like he's been doing this.
I was just excited because like we seen some of his videos. I got introduced to him through watching some of this stuff, right? And I'm like, all right, cool. This is gonna be on and be able to talk about the flat earth debate, whether it's I've seen a couple of his I've seen a couple of Red's debates before, and like I thought he was a dick and like a prick and everything, but I thought his math was bang on, and like the stuff he said about the shape of the earth, I didn't think there was anything wrong with that. But I don't know, like you guys say that he's like a con artist and a scammer, and like I don't know those things, so I don't want to say that about someone because I really don't know what he's done before. But maybe you guys could show me some of these videos or show me like what you're talking about. I mean, like, making claims about people, you should have some type of evidence behind it. But besides the point, I was just excited to see, someone that seems like he knows what he's talking about on both sides, talk about it and have a discourse, have a discussion between it. But that's not what we ended up seeing.
Steph, why don't you give us a little prayer? We'll end in prayer.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Father God, Lord, in the precious name of Jesus, we just come before you, Lord, and we just thank you for this time, God. We know we're just dust, Lord, and we don't understand everything that you've created, God, but you've made it so that all things will glorify you, Lord. And I just pray that everyone watching, Lord, that they will come to a deeper understanding of who you are, God, through their own searching and research, Lord, like you tell us to do, God. You say whoever knocks, the door will be open to them, and those that seek, they will find, Lord. And I just pray that everyone's safe and sound, Lord, and protected from these things going on in the world right now. And just keep us safe, Lord. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, brother. Okay.
Yep.
Thank you for saying that, Thomas. You're an awesome guy too, bro. I'm glad you could come on and share your opinions about the shape of the earth.
Yeah, Thomas, if you do, happen to come back, whether or not, I'm telling you, the panel's open. You can, show us evidence for what you're claiming. There's nothing wrong with being skeptical about what people are saying. People don't just believe whatever. Don't even believe what we say or what that guy, David Weiss, was saying. You have to be able to search things out yourself.
Yeah, exactly. And you saying I should be ashamed? Well, guess what? I'm not ashamed. So sorry to let you down. I don't think I did anything wrong. Anyway, you guys are awesome. I love you guys. God bless you guys. Thank you for watching. You're more than welcome to come back anytime and show us what you guys believe. I'll dedicate a day of the week to Flat Earth. Even if you guys are Flat Earthers, check out the channel. There might be a lot of stuff we agree with, a lot of stuff you like. We do live shows almost every day on this channel. So,
and obviously, you guys, if you want, you could check out Red's stuff himself. You could check out David Weiss's stuff and make the decision for yourself.
Yeah,
see, that's the point of having a discussion, is seeing both sides of it, right?
I did email David, so hopefully he gets back to me and we can agree to doing this again. So yeah, thank you guys. God bless you. Have a good night. Sep, thanks for coming, and we'll see you guys at the next show. Bye, guys.
Peace, everyone.